94.5 K233 DT Eastwood 33 BU Seattle.
A change in policy at the Department of Homeland Security. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Secretary Kristi Noem announcing a short time ago every DHS officer in Minneapolis will be issued body cameras. And she wrote on X, the body-worn camera program is being expanded nationwide as funding becomes available. President Trump says he backs the idea.
They generally tend to be good for law enforcement because people can't lie about what's happening. So it's generally speaking, I think 80% good for law enforcement. But if she wants to do that, I'm okay with it.
Calls have been increasing for ICE agents to wear the cameras after the deadly shooting of Alex Preddy by immigration officers and the fatal shooting of Renee Good in Minneapolis last month. On the government shutdown, the president says he backs the bipartisan deal to fully reopen the government.
President Trump says we cannot have another long, pointless, and destructive shutdown in a social media post, urging all Republicans and Democrats to support a government spending plan approved last week by the Senate. The bipartisan agreement would fully fund every federal department except Homeland Security to allow 2 weeks for negotiations over new restrictions on ICE demanded by Democrats. Senate leaders signed off on the deal negotiated with the president. A vote in the House is expected tomorrow. Without any support from Democrats, House Speaker Mike Johnson can afford to lose just one Republican vote.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. The search continues in Arizona for the 84-year-old mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie.
This community has always stepped up to help us solve some pretty tough crimes. I'm looking for that again.
Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos, who says Nancy Guthrie was last seen Saturday night at about 9:30. He says she has limited mobility but no cognitive issues, and there are signs she did not leave on her own. America's listening to Fox News.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZzzQuil Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZzzQuil Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Folks! The yellow light! I'm walking here!
Good afternoon and welcome to the Jason Rantz Show. We are here on Seattle Red 770 AM, streaming on the Seattle Red app. We've got a lot to get to. Donald Trump has a message for Seattle and Portland and other blue cities. We're not going to help with your left-wing riots. But first, not the best timing for an announcement that happened today in Seattle. That's what's trending.
What's trending? Crime.
So Sean Barnes came out in opportune time. And I understand that this date to go over crime statistics had been planned. But I feel like they could have just pushed it. Because when you come out to declare that crime in Seattle is down, after we just had 3 murders in 2 days, plus a $50,000 haul of stolen Seattle Seahawks merchandise, it just sends a mixed message, is all I'm saying. But I guess you deal with the hand that you're dealt if you're Sean Barnes. He came out today to say that crime is down. Crime is down. And he went over different categories of crime. And to be clear, there are some categories that are undisputably better than where they were last year. For example, we saw a 36% reduction in homicides. Awesome. doesn't quite hit when you just have two teenagers murdered right next to a school on Friday, and then yet another murder at that underground triangle parking lot in Pioneer Square right by CenturyLink and Lumenfield. The one which there's been many shootings prior. But undoubtedly, homicides are in fact down. Also, burglaries, 18%. They say thefts from vehicles dropped 7%. This is where we get into the, I know that's what the data says, but it's not true part of the conversation. The reality is a lot of the crimes that are the nonviolent crimes that they say are down are not down. If anything, they're up, which is why most people do not actually believe the data, including cops that I talk to on a regular basis. When they tell you that break-ins to a home or to a business, shoplifting, all these things are down. When they just say crime is down, as you're seeing open-air drug use, just know they mean reported crime is down. They're not getting as many 911 calls. I believe them when it comes to homicides because it's not like you can hide a homicide. And when it comes to big ticket items being stolen, like cars, you can't really hide that because if your car is stolen, you're reporting that. But if someone breaks into your car and steals the stuff in your glove compartment, you're unlikely to report that anymore because you know that reporting it doesn't lead to anything. Police aren't going to show up. Police aren't going to catch the person responsible. You should still report it, no doubt. But I say this as someone who I see crimes all the time that I don't report, specifically open-air drug use and drug dealing. Almost every single time I walk to get my dog, I got a dog a couple years ago. His name is D'Artagnan.
Really? How's this never come up?
And I sometimes keep too private a life when it comes to things like that. But when I pick him up from daycare, when I drop him off at daycare, when I'm even thinking about daycare, I see it all the time, almost each time. Tonight, when I go pick him up after the show, I will see open-air drug use and possibly drug dealing. In the morning, this morning when I dropped him off, I saw it. I'm not calling 911. Now, you know, if I told that to Sean Barnes, the chief, he would say, you should call. And I agree, I should. And I'm not. I'm not going to waste my time on hold or feel like an idiot when I'm calling 911 to report open-air drug use because you're not enforcing that law. And I'm not going to call the non-emergency number. You want to know why? Because they don't pick up. So I'm not going to do that. So just keep all of this in mind. But again, the optics, I think, of holding this press release or press conference after 3 homicides over 2 days is ridiculous. There was a vigil in Rainier Beach over the weekend. 100 people or so gathered to honor the lives of 2 teens who were shot and killed at a bus stop right by their high school. And this is, in this case, Rainier Beach High School, but this is one of many high schools, well, all high schools in Seattle that doesn't allow police officers on campus or school resource officers on campus. And they're still not going to allow for school resource officers, just so we're clear. Now, they say, Sean Barnes said earlier today, look, you know, we're working with SPS, Seattle Public Schools, to help students and families return to the classroom and feel safe.
We've been working closely with Seattle Public Schools to support students, educators, and families as they return to class under what I know firsthand to be an incredibly difficult circumstances.
Well, and this is not Sean Barnes' fault, and all of this predated him to begin with anyway, but he should probably do a better job of putting public pressure to get cops back on campus. Because that's one way to tackle this issue. I know there's some left-wing students who don't want it, but who cares what they want? There are 2 teenagers who are dead now. And while I can't prove that had we had cops on campus, this would not have occurred, I do think that you can safely assume that the culture around crimes that are happening on campuses probably diminishes just a little bit, maybe gets a little bit better. One of the mothers of the victims spoke.
It's my only child. I got any school.
Now, she's going through the unthinkable for parents. And we hear the same refrain each and every time, right? Something we're calling for something to be done. Well, what would you like to be done? Because this is an issue that's multifaceted. Number one, you don't have police nearby. You don't support cops, number two. Number three, you continuously push to go easy on criminal juveniles. And so when you scream out into the ether, something must be done, I agree. But perhaps you should be looking at yourself in the mirror. Not this mother, of course. But the activists who are out there, the students who were at this vigil, something must be done. Well, I think something is being done. The policies you help put in place help take the lives of these two kids. Now, Victoria Beach is a community advocate. She used to be with the city of Seattle, or SPD, on one of their committees, and she's been on the show before. She's been consistent on this. School resource officers have to come back on campus. She spoke with Coleman.
We need police back in the schools. You know, who knows? Maybe somebody knew that there was a beef going on and they could tell the officer or whoever.
Precisely. And again, I'm going to presume most people are less likely to commit a crime when they know a cop is really close by. Not completely unlikely. It's not impossible, but less likely. At the same time, we had one person shot and killed, 3 injured in a shooting in Pioneer Square at the sinking ship parking garage. Do people know what I'm talking about when I say that, or do you have to be from Seattle? It looks like a half underground parking structure. What street is that? It's right off of, it's right by Occidental Park.
I think it's at Yesler and James.
Sure, that. James and Yesler. My remote Fox News studio years ago used to be right across the street from that parking lot. And every time I would get booked to go on like Fox and Friends early in the morning, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get shot if I show up at this point. And I'm telling you, at least a quarter of the time when I showed up for those appearances, there were cop cars there because there had just been a crime, a shooting, a mugging, something right at that parking lot. But it's good to know we keep it out there. Here's a witness speaking with Cairo 7 TV. He lives nearby, poor man.
I heard 4 loud bangs. Guns don't normally sound that loud, but it was a high caliber gun that I heard.
Well, guns do oftentimes sound very loud. What are you talking about? Usually they're like, pa-choo, pa-choo. It's like a whisper. There are not that many on silencers in downtown Seattle. Maybe some. What is he talking about? How high caliber could it have possibly
You can tell
been?
he's from Western Washington.
Oh, my gosh. Happened around 1:30 a.m. yesterday. Officers responded to find one person fatally shot in the head, another with life-threatening injuries, a woman who was grazed by a bullet. She said, I didn't even know it was shot because I could barely hear the gunfire. It just sounded like, phew, phew, that's it. Another woman later showed up at Harborview Medical Center who was also grazed by gunfire. No suspects were arrested in this case. No suspects were arrested in the shooting of the teens. But tell us, Sean Barnes, about how you're clamping down on gun violence.
Their losses underscore the truth that we cannot ignore. Preventing gun violence requires all of us, everyone in this room, to work together.
Oh, stop that nonsense. It's a talking point, bullet point, a bumper sticker talking point that doesn't really mean anything. Sorry, not to be mean. He obviously means well. Oh, it takes a village. Well, it could also just take some lawmakers to change some laws. It could also just take a school board to say cops can come back on campus. You don't really need all of us. Now, I'd love everyone to be on the same page, sure, but you don't need it. You can start saying we're going to prosecute juvenile criminals. I know, very controversial. Can't believe it came out of my mouth. And of course, not all crime is violent. Mass thieves made off with more than $50,000 in Seahawks merchandise during an early morning heist at Pro Image Sports right near Lumen Field. Happened about 4 a.m. The popular spot, according to Como, has a massive wall of hats and a huge selection of jerseys, whether it's Mariners or Seahawks seasons. Obviously, right now, a lot of interest in the Seahawks, although Mariners starts up pretty soon. Wasn't Fan Fest over the weekend?
It was.
Yeah, weren't you there?
I did not go, no.
and you call yourself a fan.
I know.
Here's the co-owner, Clayton, speaking with Como TV, said, this is obviously going to hurt us.
We knew the section that they went right over there. And
hey, Clayton, could you turn off the alarm while we're doing this interview? Now, we can wait a few minutes. We don't have to do
I think that was Como playing the sound effects in the background.
I know.
Got in and out in a hurry. Stole roughly $30,000 to $50,000 worth of jerseys. Or they were the royal blue ones, some Hasselback and Alexander, a lot of the throwback players, large in. Definitely affects you, so it was a little emotional this morning. And
I imagine it was. Because it's not just the stolen merchandise, but $2,300 in property damage because of the break-in. But you know what they call me? Glass half full Rantz. And they do. Everyone does, because I always find a positive in bad stories.
Oh, okay.
Looking for cheaper gear that you can buy on the streets? Just go to the nearest guy who looks a little bit shady, who's dealing out of his trunk of his car.
At least someone's trying to address the affordability crisis.
Yeah, look, you know what? Things are too expensive, and if you're looking for one of these jerseys at 97% off, just go to that dude in the stolen Ford over there. He's dealing out of the back seat of his car. Clayton said people should be wary of purchasing black market sports gear because it's the same exact quality at cheaper prices as his store.
you can see here where they cut it, definitely had a very high-powered bolt cutter, and the cops were even saying how crisp it is. Definitely was not something that you just go buy at a Home Depot. That's the thing I'd really like to make people aware of when you're buying an item off of a street vendor or online. Sometimes it's not licensed. Sometimes, there's people out there making a living off of stealing stolen merchandise.
Okay. I think most people know that. He's right, of course, to call it out, but I think most people know that, and you just pretend otherwise. It's like buying that $1 bottle of water on the way into the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
You know you're buying something from someone who shouldn't be there and isn't there legally.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the opposite, right? It's I'm buying this Seahawks hat or Mariners jersey or whatever it is at one of these random stalls where there's no signage. The guy is clearly selling you something that was stolen. But you say to yourself, well, it's only $15.
You buy something off Temu and you're like, well, it might have been made by an 8-year-old in China in a sweatshop, but I'm just going to block that out of my mind.
I'm getting such a great deal. Sure, I can go to Pro Image Shop and spend $97 plus tax on a jersey, or I can get this one for $9. They're offering just such a better deal. And you know why? It's because they don't have the high cost of overhead. They're not worried about, a building, insurance, labor,
shipping,
the price of actually acquiring the goods. They don't worry about that.
They just cut out the middleman.
And everyone that's tied to the legal sale of said items. Now he says, look, I'd love to offer a huge reward for anyone who has info that leads to the arrest and prosecution, but I can't. I can, however, give you some of the stuff that we hopefully get back from the thieves.
Still got a lot of product to sell and a lot of great fans, so we're going to try to stay positive about it. We're a smaller business, so we probably can't do a huge reward, but definitely if anybody can help us out, would love to hook them up with some Hawks gear.
Yeah. What if it turns out, just go with me for a moment, it's a Patriots fan who finds the info that they need and they capture the guy? Do you give do you get him Patriots gear? You'd have to special order that, right? I doubt you can just go to the pro shop here and get it.
They might have something lying around, but I don't know. Yeah, that's why would a Patriots fan return it though? I feel like he would.
Well, because you know what? Not everyone on the opposing side are evil. They're usually evil, but not all.
They're monsters, okay?
No, there's like 1% that aren't degenerate monsters. Why would you say that about? Why would you paint such a broad brush? What a jerk. Would you like them saying that about us? It's just as true.
Actually, yeah, it is.
It's probably way worse. Push the button.
What's trending in Trumplandia?
Donald Trump is drawing a pretty hard line for blue cities and counties and states, frankly, that tolerate rioting coming from the radical left, while then demanding or maybe even expecting some kind of federal assistance. He's all like, yeah, no, hard pass. And this comes right after a riot in Eugene, Oregon, that the president in a Truth Social post called out by name, saying that local governments should not expect federal help unless they both explicitly ask for it while also using the magic word. Do you know what the magic word is?
Please.
Please. He should have said, they better say pretty please.
With a cherry on top.
With a cherry on top. He said, I've instructed Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem that under no circumstances are we going to participate in various poorly run Democratic cities with regard to their protests and or riots unless and until they ask us for help. We will, however, guard, and very powerfully so, and any and all federal buildings that are being attacked by these highly paid lunatics, agitators, and insurrectionists. Please be aware that I have instructed ICE and or Border Patrol to be very forceful in this protection of federal government property. There will be no spitting in the faces of our officers. There will be no punching or kicking the headlights off of our cars. And then he said, last night in Eugene, Oregon, these criminals broke into a federal building and did great damage, also scaring and harassing the hardworking employees. Local police did nothing in order to stop it. We will not let that happen anymore. For cities that want federal help, Trump said, simply say please. He spoke on Air Force One to reporters.
I mean, honestly, the crime-ridden cities are all Democrat-run cities. And if they want help, they have to ask for it. Because if we go in, all they do is complain. But if they want help, they can ask for it, and they're going to need help. Los Angeles, as an example, we went in, we solved it.
I mean, you don't even have to go, just look at D.C. You don't even have to go into, like, rioting areas. Just go into high-crime areas. Like, look what we did.
We were just talking about not painting in a broad brush, though. He did. He just said all of them are Democrat. He doesn't know that.
But he's right.
Oh, okay.
Can you name a Republican? I'm sure there are some that are hell-ridden. Or what did he say? Violence-ridden hellholes or something? Crime-ridden hellholes? There are some in the South, no doubt. But amongst the biggest city ones, they're almost all Democratic run. And the only time, I mean, remember the time where we used to say New York City was safe? Who was the mayor at that point? It was Rudy Giuliani.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, that's the truth. The last time we said anything positive about New York as far as crime, and I suppose you can say that now about D.C., but you don't give Muriel Bowser any credit for that. That's all Trump. It's 100% Trump. Let's find out what else is trending.
What's trending? Who cares?
So are we still doing this stupid thing? Punxsutawney Phil emerged from his tree stump earlier this morning. He looked around to make sure Bill de Blasio was nowhere to be seen. And upon assurances that he wasn't around, he said, okay, you may lift me, and I will whisper into your ear. And then you will completely ignore everything I just said, because it's usually, why do you make me do this every year? I have no interest in weather forecasting. I don't know what it is you're asking of me to do here. I don't know why you think I know anything about winter. I'm just as cold as you are, idiots. But then the adults look at, or the humans, I should say, look at the forecast, and then they decide to speak on his behalf, and they read from some scroll that was printed the morning of.
It's my great honor to answer your annual call.
He's not feeling honored. You've killed his friends and family over generations with this stupid stunt.
So I rise again this morning to greet you all. But today I wake thinking of numbers and time.
Oh my God.
America
How long is
turns
this?
250 and I'm at least 139.
That's not, first of all, that wasn't funny, lady who did the in the background. That was not funny. Number two, he has no concept, Phil, of time in human years.
And we know it's not 139 years old because he killed the other Phil, Bill de Blasio.
Well, that one was 210. Then they start, oh no, yeah.
Let's celebrate all, young, old, babies, or millennial.
I'll just get to
and
it.
kick off America's
That was the the local Fox anchors in the background.
Did he know his microphone was on?
Oh yeah, they were narrating like the whole thing.
Oh,
it was pretty
I love
funny,
that.
actually.
That's great.
My quincentennial. We look to the future and not just the past. So I suppose this party could use a forecast.
Yes, please.
It is my...
You know, if this was a giraffe, they would get right to it. If this was a raccoon, right to it. A bear would maul everyone and leave, which is actually what I would prefer.
Job this February 2.
Oh my God.
To look to the skies and report back to you that there is a shadow here on my ground. No! 6 more weeks of winter abound.
No.
That's the Fox 29 Philadelphia people. Okay, she's laying on a little bit thick there, but I can't appreciate what it is she's doing. Meanwhile, poor Puxatawny feels like, that's not what I said at all. Why would I say that? I know people are going to be upset if I were to say that. I told you winter's done. It ended last year. Winter is not coming. Stop it. Why do the only reason this exists now and gets covered, and we're not going to do it on this show, but listen to any show this morning or this afternoon after you finish this show. If anyone plays a clip of Bill Murray from Groundhog Day, just know that the people who are responsible for that are the laziest of lazy in radio, and they're why radio is dying. They're the reason.
I feel bad for Phil.
Phil, just,
leave him alone.
Do they even get him a hotel room for the night like they do the turkeys that get pardoned in D.C. each Thanksgiving?
I don't know.
Or did they just rip him out of his house?
I think they just rip him out of his hole.
God, that's just so wrong. Where's PETA?
Didn't
sure they put out something.
I think they raised that issue last year,
Did
actually. Because like how
did.
they said it's like loud and it's scary. Groundhogs are like shy creatures and it's scary.
No, that wasn't. Was that for this or was that at a game?
I think it was.
Was it? Okay, because I remember that too. I thought for some reason I thought it was at a baseball game because weren't they also? It was a bulldog.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Right. So that was an. They're actually, by the way, 100% correct on that. This is none of the animals want to do this. Okay. What if a Puxatawny Phil pulled your fat out of your bed as a human and said, "Tell us, is it going to be cold? Because we're cold too." Stupid groundhogs. Is that even a real animal?
Yeah.
Is it, or is this made up like
it's real
velociraptor or whatever? He's just made up. It's just it's just a, you know what it is? It's a raccoon that they just paint in a different color. 1-800-465-8770 for your texts. It's the Jason Rantz Show.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu, medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZQL Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZQL Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz here. Stock market last year was great. You can thank AI and tech stocks for that. And yet, I know there are people who are listening who didn't get to take advantage. How do I know? Well, because there was $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines with investors too scared or unsure of where to go. I'm guessing a lot of you were in that camp, and that's okay. Now is a reminder to take this year much more seriously with Legacy Group Capital. It's an opportunity to lock in the gains and invest into a stable platform. You see, Legacy Group Capital, they're based in Bellevue, and they develop local real estate, they lend money, and they share the profit with investors. Now is a great time to diversify your portfolio with Legacy Group Capital's Northwest Fund, currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate of return. And yes, Legacy Group Capital accepts IRAs. Find out why over 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million with Legacy Group Capital. The website is legacyg.com, the letter G, legacyg.com, or write down this number, 425-635-4700, 425-635-4700.
Spring is right around the corner, but the perfect time to start your outdoor project is right now. Natural Design Landscaping has been serving Seattle and the East Side for nearly 30 years. They design, build, and maintain stunning outdoor spaces, from full makeovers to weekly maintenance. Beat the spring rush and get your yard project started today. Mention Seattle Red and get 10% off your first service. Visit naturaldesignlandscape.com to schedule your consultation. Natural Design Landscaping, let's build something wonderful together.
How about a simple New Year's resolution, one that even I was able to achieve? Reverse the clock on hair loss with Advanced Hair's simple one-day FUE treatment. You'll feel more confident and more youthful when you witness your own natural hair growing into those places that have been balding or thinning for years. I'm surprised and relieved every time I look in the mirror. You need to know what that feels like. From Advanced Hair's breakthrough technology to their highly experienced team, there is no one I would trust more than Advanced Hair Restoration. I experienced their exceptional standard of care firsthand. Your comfort and your results are the top priority of the entire Advanced Hair team. Celebrate this new year with a fuller head of hair and get a free consultation, $250 off, and 250 free hair grafts. Call 425-449-8185. That's 425-449-8185. Discover what meeting your resolutions could look like with the before and after pictures at advancedhair.com.
Do you like helping others? Become a Shiva volunteer. In Clark County, join the hundreds of volunteers across Washington state who help over 90,000 people each year with their Medicare options and questions. You don't have to know Medicare. We'll teach you. And if you're bilingual, even better. For more information and how to apply, call Shiva at 1-800-562-6900 or go to insurance.wa.gov.
Sponsored by the Office of the Insurance Commissioner and aired by the Washington State Association of Broadcasters and this station.
This hour of the Jason Rantz Show is brought to you by General Transmission Repair.
Welcome back to the Jason Rantz Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I did not realize that last night was the Grammys. Did you know that the Grammys were this weekend? I had no idea. And I don't normally pay attention in fairness to Grammys, and I never really have. But from a cultural standpoint, I'm generally aware of when the award shows are and who's hosting. I didn't even know until this morning when I started watching some of the clips that Trevor Noah was the host.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was on yesterday until like a few hours before. And then I begrudgingly watched a little bit because my fiance wanted to watch, so.
That's commitment right there. You make her go to your Mariners games, and so she's
all about compromise.
Yeah, exactly. Like, look, I'm only in it for 7 minutes, but you've got me for 7. Undivided attention for 7 minutes. I heard/read that Trevor Noah's final Grammys hosting gig was, to quote The Hollywood Reporter, a dud. They said it wasn't very good.
Just like literally every other Trevor Noah appearance ever.
Trevor Noah is one of the most unfunny comedians to ever exist.
I don't think I've ever laughed at one of his jokes.
Because I don't think they're jokes. I think just people liked his accent. And they, at first, it was like, oh, look at this Brit. And I'm like, he's not a Brit.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, it's too late. We've already committed to this guy. Let's just go with him. And so he decided, along with probably everyone in the music industry, to turn on Nicki Minaj, who is at a point where she's got enough money. She really doesn't care about what your thoughts about her are, but she's been outspoken. Either last night or this morning, I can't remember because I saw 2 different tweets, but one of the tweets said she can't understand how anyone could vote for Democrats anymore. And I love her now. I find her to be incredibly annoying, and her accent makes me want to vomit. But I do like her messaging now. So she got attacked for supporting Trump.
Oh, man, every single person here, John Legend, Billie Eilish, Phineas, Nicki Minaj is not here. She is not here. She is
busy at the UN, actually speaking out on behalf of a normal, reasonable, and virtuous position. Is that where she is? Like not killing Christians?
She is still at the White House with Donald Trump discussing very, important issues. Actually, Nikki, I have the biggest ass. I have it. Everybody's saying it, Nikki. I know they say it's you, but it's me. Wop, wop, wop. Look at it. Look at it, baby.
I mean, that's not the worst impersonation.
It's not great.
No, but it wasn't the worst.
No.
You know, I've heard worse. I've heard worse jokes, like the one that Trump is threatening to sue him over.
Song of the Year. Congratulations, Billie Eilish. Wow. That is a Grammy that every artist wants, almost as much as Trump wants Greenland, which makes sense. I mean, because Epstein's island is gone, he needs a new one to hang out with Bill Clinton. So, I told you it's my last year. What are you going to do about it?
Okay, so first of all, I love, one, Trevor Noah thinking that was an edgy joke, and two, literally stealing the same bit from Ricky Gervais and his last Golden Globes awards, in which he says, "What? I don't care. I'm not coming back." It's almost the same exact. It is the same joke. It's just told slightly differently.
And Ricky Gervais were actually edgy because he was like roasting everyone in the room.
He was extremely edgy. And he pointed out last night, God bless him, although I will say I watched his last Netflix special, which was not good. And that pains me to say because I really like Ricky Gervais. I think he's very funny. His last one was not funny at all. It was almost like a Trevor Noah stand-up bit. It was smarter, I suppose. But he pointed out on his X account, he just quoted himself in one of those like meme things, telling people that they're in no position to lecture Americans about anything political or social. And he posted that, I think, after the Billie Eilish nonsense. I imagine there was some land acknowledgement before the actual Grammy Awards. And then Billie Eilish, who is very talented. She did that boring song from the Barbie movie. Do-do-do-do. That one. Do-do-do-do-do. It's fine. What we were made for, whatever that stupid song is. Well, she just won something you just heard. And then she goes up on stage with her brother and getting weird vibes between those two. Like they're in a relationship.
It was a very strange dynamic.
Every single time.
Like, what's going on here?
They seem like they're dating. It's just, and everyone I think initially thinks that until, wait, that's her brother? Phoebeus or whatever his name is? What's his name?
I think Phineas.
Phineas, whatever it is. Listen to this nonsense.
No one is illegal on stolen land.
Oh. Okay. Let's talk through this whole nonsense of no one is illegal on stolen land. Because there's some inconsistencies on the messaging. Now, I'm not going to do what I saw everyone dumping on her saying, are you going to give up your mansion, which is built on stolen land? I'm not going to do that. But I will point out that you cannot simultaneously believe that all borders are fake and can't be policed, right? We can't have any border enforcement at all while also saying land can be stolen. Both of those positions don't make sense. Pick a lane. Don't care which one. Either one is stupid, but at least we can argue. Your points are in conflict with one another. It's stolen land. It's stolen land. It was not stolen land. We did not have stealing land back then in this context. It's conquered, sure. And I know that you're on the side of Native Americans, I guess, because you, despite benefiting from the stolen land, quote unquote. But dear God, it's just so lazy.
And if no one's illegal, didn't all of our ancestors come here legally then?
Exactly. No person is illegal. Got it. Thanks. People pointed out that she sought a restraining order against some crazy fan. I guess that person was illegal in breaking onto your property, and that's wrong. Yeah. You go, girl. Queen, slay. Yeah.
And yeah, it's just really hard to know what to say and what to do right now. And
You could choose not to say or do anything and just walk off the stage, dummy.
I feel really hopeful in this room, and I feel like we just need to keep fighting and speaking up and protesting, and our voices really do matter, and the people matter.
Okay, Billy, because you're protesting for sure. You're definitely going out in the crowd, taking it to the streets. Yeah, okay. You had a bunch of wealthy people who were fighting so they wouldn't see their housekeepers and chefs and everyone getting deported. Because, like, who will I exploit for cheap labor? Who can I underpay to manicure my lawn? Because to them, that's all these people are. They're not human. They're people to serve them. That's it. Bad Bunny was there. Oh, God. Our future Super Bowl halftime performer. Or you can watch Kid Rock on the Turning Point USA one. But here's his speech in his poorly fitted suit.
Before I say thanks to God.
You don't believe that God helped you here, because usually people would just lean into that first, maybe end with what you're about to begin with.
I'm going to say...
just say it. Just say it.
Eyes out.
Ice out. Yeah. Many people did the whole ice out stuff. Or F-ice. Yeah, we got it.
We're not savage, we're not animals, we're not aliens, we are humans, and we are Americans.
Okay, no. If we're talking about illegal immigrants, it's in the name. The whole point is that they're not Americans. Now, no one's saying Bad Bunny is an illegal immigrant. He is an American citizen. He's from Puerto Rico. He's Puerto Rican American. What is he talking about? What is it? I don't even understand what he was trying to say. So you're saying that the people in this country illegally are, in fact, Americans? No, that's what makes them illegal immigrants. But also, conflating the two is intentional. Now, in fairness, does Bad Bunny realize he's doing that intentionally? Probably not, because he's a dum-dum. But all I saw during this, and I'm not going to play the rest. Was there anything else in there that's worth playing?
It's just kind of a lot of
stupid
platitudes.
Stuff. Yeah, okay. Yeah. This feels like a guarantee that the halftime show is, in fact, going to be uber left-wing and woke after years, at least 3, in which the NFL kind of abandoned that. Like, could you recall anything controversial about the Babyface performance? Was anything political? No. Rihanna, there was nothing political. Who was last year?
Kendrick Lamar.
Was there anything? I don't remember if there was any. Maybe.
All I remember was everyone just saying it sucks.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying it was good.
I don't specifically woke, though. Nothing
that jumps to mind. And it felt like when they selected Bad Bunny to begin with, it was intended already to be political. So they're just leaning in. And I saw this report, the survey that came out a month ago, maybe, that looked at the different sports leagues to see where the players aligned ideologically, and not a shock. NFL had a higher number of Republicans than they did liberals. And it was, I don't remember, it was like 55 to 60%, something like that, which makes total sense. I mean, if you hear them talk, players usually talk, especially when they're just new to getting money, like, wait, you want to take how much from me in taxes? What are you, nuts? What are you, nuts? Get out of here. They all of a sudden become Republicans. And a lot of them come from religious backgrounds or grew up religious. And so they're obviously going to be more conservative. There was in The Athletic, excuse me, they did a survey of anonymous players to get their general sense of how they view the halftime show. And I don't know if these were players across the league or players going to the Super Bowl, but there was some offensive lineman who said something offensive, because he's all like, oh, I didn't know who Bad Bunny was until they made the announcement. By the way, I didn't either. But I believe that they should probably, speak English in their performance. Like, it was one of those quotes, which is 100% correct. He doesn't perform in English. Why would you close off the largest audience for the Super Bowl to enjoy the halftime show? Unless he's going to do bilingual at some point, but he doesn't perform in English normally. All of his songs are in Spanish. So I don't even know what he's saying. You know who they should have got?
Who?
Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
He won something big last night. I like Jelly Roll. I like his story. This is a dude who used to be in jail. And he's all like, you know what? I'm not going to let that stand in the way of me killing again, except this time in my career. I don't know if he actually killed. But do we know what he... I
think he was like a drug dealer or something.
I mean, I could see that. He also used to be very fat.
Yeah, he lost a ton of weight.
He lost at least a bad bunny.
Can't really call himself Jelly Roll anymore.
I know. There's no jelly rolls anymore. I mean, there's probably loose skin that could be crunched into a jelly roll, but he had a much more wholesome speech.
I know they're going to try to kick me off here, so just let me try to get this out. First of all, Jesus, I hear you and I'm listening, Lord. I am listening, Lord.
I love, by the way, the people who do not believe in God at all cheering that loudly in the crowd, because I think they feel like they're supposed to.
Second of all, I want to thank my beautiful wife. I would have never changed my life without you. I'd have ended up dead or in jail. I'd have killed myself if it wasn't for you and Jesus. I thank you for that. I thank you for my label, Broken Bow, Country Radio, baby. What's up, dog? Oh, Republic, John Manili, we did it, baby. There was a time in my life, y'all, that I was broken. That's why I wrote this album. I didn't think I had a chance, y'all. There was days that I thought the darkest things. I was a horrible human. There was a moment in my life that all I had was a Bible this big and a radio the same size and a 6x8 foot cell. And I believed that those two things could change my life.
Sounds like a preacher.
I believed that music had the power to change my life and God had the power to change my life. And I want to tell y'all right now,
I just need him to do that like wave of the hand in the air. Right? He has that,
totally
performance. I like it.
This is for everybody. Jesus is not owned by one political party. Jesus is not owned by no music label. Jesus is Jesus, and anybody can have a relationship with him. I love you, Lord.
Good for him. I like Jelly Roll. And I actually like some of his music. Not all of it, some of it.
And then he said, I stand with ICE, and ran off the stage.
He said, deport all the illegals, and then he ran. He actually called afterwards. He called ICE to report Trevor Noah, saying, are we certain he's in this country legally? Because that's a job an American deserves. He's taking our jobs. 1-800-465-8770 for your text messages. 1-800-465-8770. When we come back, some bad news for those of you who love Costco. Uh-oh. We're going to get into that and so much more when we return on the Jason Rantz Show.
For almost 50 years, over 90,000 homeowners have trusted Home Comfort Alliance, including me. John Curley here. If comfort and energy savings matter to you, now you can save up to $2,000 on new heating and cooling systems. Home Comfort Alliance will replace your old system with one tailored to your home's layout while optimizing efficiency. Visit homecomfortalliance.com. Save up to $2,000 and schedule a free consultation. For heating, cooling, plumbing, or electrical, call the Comfort People. Home Comfort Alliance.
Tune in to The Money Professor with Chris Longworth.
Having some certainty about your plan is definitely going to give you all the advantages.
Chris has the heart of an educator.
A couple of different ways that you can develop a retirement income stream that is infallible. It's simply not subject to the risk and loss of the marketplace.
Tune in to The Money Professor with Chris Longworth. Saturdays at 10 a.m. and Sundays at noon on AM 770 KTTH.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz here. With gold and silver prices surging around 200% this past year, your precious metals have become a target. One break-in, one house fire, either of those things can wipe out years of hard work, which is why folks call Northwest Safe in Enumclaw. They're your local Liberty Safe dealer. Whether it's over the phone or in person, their expert sales staff will help guide you to the right safe to protect your valuables. They've been family-owned and operated since 1988. And as an exclusive Liberty Safe dealer, you just get better pricing, exclusive rebates, and first dibs on the perfect safe. In stock, ready to go, and delivered. They've got the best in-home delivery service out there, white glove delivery. Upstairs, downstairs, bolted into your basement floor, no problem for the folks over at Northwest Safe. Protect your metals, protect your peace of mind, and do it with white glove delivery and unbeatable service. Northwest Safe. NWSafe.com. You can visit them in Enumclaw or call 1-888-404-SAFE, 888-404-SAFE.
Meet Lee Platts, a renter whose possessions fill not only her apartment, but also the darkest corners of a mini storage unit. A land of both truth and fiction. Truth, everything inside is protected by Progressive. Fiction, one day Lee will fit into her clothes from senior year of high school. Renters, discover coverage for what you love and what you can't get rid of in Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55. But unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Big tax changes this year could mean a bigger refund, and Jackson Hewitt knows how to get you your biggest. You'll get $100 just to try us. That won't make you filthy rich, but definitely gas plus groceries rich. And since we know all the new tax codes, you could get thousands back, which would make you low-key loaded. Or at least wealthy adjacent? Go with our trusted pros and get $100 to switch. Rest easy. Jackson Hewitt's got your taxes. Guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
Welcome back to the Jason Rantz Show. Costco is being sued for arguably its most famous item, or at least one of them. It's rotisserie chicken, which you should not eat because ew. First of all, ew. Second of all, you know what it's in? Plastic. And it's just heated plastic, so all the microplastic is probably swimming in that chicken that you should not be eating. Otherwise, it's a wonderful product.
The only time I ever got food poisoning was from a rotisserie chicken.
Yeah, rotisserie chicken can be great, but I wouldn't buy it at any grocery store, frankly, including I wouldn't get it at like Whole Foods because, again, it's in plastic.
Yeah, the one I got was from
time.
PCC, and I still got sick.
Yeah, and it probably wasn't, frankly, it wasn't the chicken. It was probably something else you ate, but the chances of rotisserie chicken, unless it's right out of the rotisserie oven and it wasn't fully cooked, it's still in heat the entire time. So I doubt it was from that. But they're now at the center of a lawsuit filed by two people in California claiming that Costco falsely advertised that its rotisserie chicken contains no preservatives, which, again, there is zero chance that I would ever believe anything from any grocery store except maybe like Sprouts or something. When they tell you that there's no preservatives in something, there's no way that that's ever true. I don't believe that. As a matter of fact, I think they're lying. Every single one. I always just assume they're lying. And again, especially when it comes to like a place like Costco. What do you mean no preservatives? That's nonsense. Now, do people outside of like the crazy people like me care? Probably not. Do you care if there's preservatives in the food? I see what you eat. You ate the other day some crap filled with preservatives.
What?
I don't remember, but it was in a
salad.
bag. Yeah, with preservatives in the dressing. They say the seasoned rotisserie chicken contains two preservatives that are added, sodium phosphate and carrageenan. Now, I'm vaguely familiar with the sodium phosphate. I just double-checked it. It's just an emulsifier. But the other one, I definitely am aware of because in the longevity biohacking space, carrageenan is awful. It's usually flagged as something you should be avoiding. It is a gut irritant. It affects the gut lining in a way that's very similar to gluten. And if you're eating the rotisserie chicken, you're like, hey, I'm eating gluten-free because I'm gluten sensitive, or you're just trying to cut it from your diet. No, this is one of those things that, again, in like the Dave Asprey world of biohacking, they're like, no, this particular preservative is tied to irritation of the gut lining. It can lead to leaky gut. It can lead to bloating. Just for general gut health, you don't want to eat it. But they also say it causes inflammation in the colon, which, again, you want to cut down on as much inflammation as humanly possible for general health. So they say it's inflammatory and it causes digestive issues, especially if you're very sensitive. I haven't seen much on sodium phosphate of people talking about, but again, it's an emulsifier. I generally try to eat as clean as humanly possible now, and it's been very good for me. So I don't want to mess with it. But again, I would never eat food from Costco. If the idea of eating preservatives bothers you, you're not going to Costco. You're not going to a traditional grocery store. So this is one of those things where, sure, there's a lawsuit, and if it's true that it's false, they fix it, I guess. But, well, I don't want to say this is a frivolous lawsuit because I don't think it's frivolous in the traditional sense of the term. If you truly care about your health, why are you going to Costco anyway? Why? What would you do that?
So you can get your drum of grape jelly or whatever.
Yeah, it's just like what are you doing? There are plenty of other. Go to a local farm or go to the farmer's market. Go to a butcher that deals with organic certified farmers or whatever. And by the way, organic is not always better. You should have a better relationship with the farm to get a better sense. Chicken, by the way, is like the worst kind of protein, I think, from a health standpoint. Of just quality, and not just quality of the protein, but of the actual meat itself. Chicken's boring. Guess steak, loser.
I like chicken.
Yeah, this is your personality, bland.
Well, I mean, I don't dislike steak. I like steak too. But
yeah, no, I saw a little bit of a glimmer in your eye when I said chicken. You're like, ooh, chicken. Now, when you say steak, I'm like, ooh, steak. Chicken, I'm like, chicken. Ugh. Plus, I'm so scared to eat chicken because it never seems cooked when I make it. It always looks like it's under. But then I cook it over, and it's bad. It's the Jason Rantz Show.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. The big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55. But unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
How about a simple New Year's resolution, one that even I was able to achieve? Reverse the clock on hair loss with Advanced Hair's simple one-day FUE treatment. You'll feel more confident and more youthful when you witness your own natural hair growing into those places that have been balding or thinning for years. I'm surprised and relieved every time I look in the mirror. You need to know what that feels like. From Advanced Hair's breakthrough technology to their highly experienced team, there is no one I would trust more than Advanced Hair Restoration. I experienced their exceptional standard of care firsthand. Your comfort and your results are the top priority of the entire Advanced Hair team. Celebrate this new year with a fuller head of hair and get a free consultation, $250 off, and 250 free hair grafts. Call 425-449-8185. That's 425-449-8185. Discover what meeting your resolutions could look like with the before and after pictures at advancedhair.com.
Hey, this is Pete from Hope Matters. Tune in this weekend when we'll talk with local business owners about everything in and around your home. Join us on Saturdays from 2 to 3 right here on Seattle Red, or listen to the podcast on mynorthwest.com.
With great reviews and friendly, smiling faces, General Transmission can repair your transmission for far less than a replacement. Need a second opinion? Trust General Transmission. Family owned and operated since 1988, generaltransmission.com.
Is it time to get your home sold? Nick Southard with Upgrade Realty here. Selling hundreds of homes for over 25 years has taught me presentation is everything. Picture amazing photography, designer staging, and maximum exposure. With my luxurious marketing, you'll sell fast at top dollar and save thousands in fees for just 1% listing commission. To learn more, visit upgraderealty.com. Upgrade your listing for 1%. Upgraderealty.com.
Seattle Red on 770 KTTH Seattle, 97.3 KIRO FM, HD3 Tacoma Seattle, 94.5 K233 DT Eastlake, 33 BU Seattle.
Actions will be recorded. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The Homeland Security Secretary says ICE agents in Minnesota will wear body cameras.
Every federal law enforcement officer in the field in Minneapolis, including Border Patrol and ICE agents, are being given body cameras, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says. And as funding is available, she says the body camera program will be expanded and deployed across the country. President Trump says he's okay with it.
They generally tend to be good for law enforcement because people can't lie about what's happening. So it's generally speaking, I think 80% good for law enforcement.
Requiring body cameras for ICE agents is one of the demands Democrats are making as part of a reform plan for the agency.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. This coming a little over a week after the shooting death of Alex Petty in Minneapolis by immigration agents. The Hennepin County medical examiner has ruled Petty's manner of death a homicide and the cause of death multiple gunshot wounds. It's day 3 of a partial government shutdown as the House still needs to vote on a short-term package that pays for most government services through September and would fund the Department of Homeland Security for 2 weeks.
Taxpayer dollars should not be spent to brutalize and kill American citizens. Taxpayer dollars should be spent to make life more affordable.
House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries. President Trump has urged all Republicans and Democrats to support the Senate plan. The House is expected to vote on the measure tomorrow, but with the narrow margins, if no Democrats vote in favor, Speaker Johnson can only afford to lose 1 Republican vote. A second week in the deep freeze for large portions of the Southeast, with people who live on the Carolinas and Virginia digging out from deep snow, and more than 70,000 homes in Tennessee and Mississippi begin a second week without electricity. America's listening to Fox News.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZzzQuil Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZzzQuil Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Coach! The yellow light! God, I'm walking here! I'm walking!
Good afternoon and welcome to the Jason Rantz Show. We are here live on Seattle Red 770 AM. We are streaming live on the Seattle Red app, online at seattlered.com. Seahawks fans in Kirkland are fired up for the big game on Sunday. So we'll mock them in the big local. What? I'm just being honest. Don't give me that look. Would you prefer I lie and say that I'm really fired up and excited on their behalf? Or would you want me to be authentic?
If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all.
Okay, well then I guess you might as well turn off the show now. Should I go home or should I continue? But first, Seattle activists rallied over something that didn't actually happen. That's what's trending.
What's trending? Woke madness.
Hundreds of activists gathered over the weekend in Seattle to protest a threat that was never actually there. It didn't actually happen. The rally ended up on Capitol Hill in Seattle. It was billed as this urgent response to ICE activity near a school. except there was no ice activity near a school. The so-called activity or the sightings that occurred didn't actually happen. Now, that, of course, didn't stop 6 South Seattle schools to go into a shelter in place, but hey, they don't know how to teach basics like biology. Let's not expect them to know what ice agents look like. And yet still, according to reporting from Como TV, the demonstration came out of these rumors and assumptions. And a bunch of folks from the Seattle Public School District, both staff members and students, showed up. Isaura Jimenez Guerra, a teacher and member of the Seattle Education Association, she spoke with Como to say she's had students too afraid to come to school.
We want ICE out of our communities. Having to really quickly adjust in order to keep folks safe really revealed a lot of gaps in what is actually going to keep us safe. Are we? And it's our role to step up and show up for them and be like, we're willing to be out here with you.
What a time to be a kid. Seriously, just go, Miss Guerrera, I couldn't do my homework because I'm scared that ICE agents are going to come knocking on my door and hauling me and my abuela to a facility. It's like, you're a Jew from Brooklyn, New York. Why would they come after you? This is my truth. It's like, okay, sorry, no homework for you. Could you imagine? I mean, we went years, all you have to do is say, homework is the result of white supremacy culture, and they would cancel all homework. You can't grade me on this math test. Math is racist. Who's saying 2 + 2 is 4? That kind of perfection is a white supremacist characteristic. Didn't you see this triangle that tells us the hierarchy of different white supremacy traits? And now you have to do is, I'm too scared of ICE. Mr. Morsink, the Gestapo is going to come for me if I come to school. Can I have tomorrow off? Sure, Jason. It's Hassan. Here's a high school student named Miles Hagopian. Sounds like this person is related to the far-left Hagopian teacher used to be at SPS, and then a former professor at UW. Let's listen to Miles say his brother's school had to go into lockdown for something that didn't actually occur.
A lot of kids were just scared for their families, scared to speak up. We're all students, we're all workers.
Scared to speak up. Where are they again? Remind me. A protest?
Yeah.
Was he filmed talking to a friend by Como, or did he talk to Como directly?
He was talking into the mic.
Okay. Well, I'm glad he's not scared. He didn't. In fairness, he didn't say he was scared. He said everybody else was scared. He's a hero.
And we believe that we have to stand up for each other to make this world better.
Yeah. Stand up for each other to make this world better. Remind me again, just in case I got this wrong, how many ICE instances have been by Seattle Public Schools in the last, let's just go over the last year. So January 20th.
Nothing comes to mind.
Okay. Well, then they're really brave, right? I think that's real bravery. Meanwhile, you know what did happen on Friday? 2 teenagers at a local high school were shot to death at their bus stop right by their school. And it feels like more people showed up to this anti-ICE rally to condemn an incident that didn't actually happen, then showed up to the vigil the night before. It's so weird how that works. Priorities.
I thought these people hated gun violence too.
But what do they hate more? Fake ICE sightings that are the cause of the day, or, boring old gun violence? Been there, done that. I've been to vigils before. But how often do you get to go to an anti-ICE rally to protest something that didn't happen? How often does that come about? Yeah, exactly. Let's find out what else is trending.
What's trending in Amazonia?
So some significant local news. We told you last week that Amazon was laying off about 16,000 or so. And it turns out, we now know it's almost 2,200 Seattle area employees. And I say area because it's all across Western Washington. So 2,198 according to GeekWire. They looked at the official filing that was put in with the state of Washington, and it shows that software development roles account for the largest share of the layoffs, with engineering management, program management, and technical product roles also hit hard. They say more than half of the cuts impact Amazon's core product and engineering organizations. Now, that's an important piece because, again, they didn't go in to their warehouses and replace some of the workers putting your products in boxes with robots. And robots, there's a lot of automation already happening at our warehouses all around the country. They went after engineering management and program management and the technical product roles as part of their core team. So there's two things to take out of that. Number one, they're becoming less management heavy. And some of that might just be the previous 10,000 plus employees that they laid off in December, or what was it, November. It could be that now you have fewer team members. We don't need as many managers, right? But it also means that AI is getting around some of the work that managers are doing. And if anyone's out there saying, I'm in a management role, they're not going to come after me. They're going to go after the peons, the Jacksons of the world. Yeah, they're also going after the Jacksons. By the way, Jackson, you and I have to have a conversation after the show. Ignore that empty box over there. But they're also going after the management. And so you're not going to be protected the same way. AI is a big piece of this. It's not the only piece, but it's a big piece of this. And anything you can do with AI that's faster and cheaper than dealing with a human, businesses, especially in the tech sector, are going to take advantage of that 100% of the time. Maybe small tech companies will avoid doing this, but in the long run, they're going to do that too. Now, this is not the only news of job losses out of this region. T-Mobile also announced today that they're getting rid of 393 positions in the state of Washington, and they include vice president level roles. They say this is part of an internal restructuring effort. This is very similar to what Amazon and Meta and Microsoft did. They hired a bunch of people during the pandemic, not realizing we would go back to normal. Things got back to normal. Now they're saying, we're going to have to right-size this ship. So they made that announcement. And then we found out, and this is related but very different, Zillow, which is also based in Seattle, they just fired 200 people. Except this was not a layoff in the traditional sense. You know who the 200 people were?
Who?
Underperforming employees. So, like I said, Jacksons. These are people who have just not done a good job. And when I initially saw this story, and we've got it up at SeattleRed.com, all three of these actually. When I initially saw this announcement, I was like, how is that a news story? You fired 200 people who aren't very good at their job. That's
yeah,
business.
It's not really tied to like any bigger economic.
Yeah, that is a business decision that makes total sense, assuming they're telling us the truth here. And it seems like they are because they have over 200 job openings right now at the Zillow website. So they're still hiring people, and there's no reason to believe that Zillow is in any kind of trouble. But I thought that was kind of interesting. Number one, it's not really a news story. But then it was like, you know what? I'm glad this is a news story, and here's why. We should be talking about underperformers losing their jobs. Because you know what I think that does to people who know they're underperformers but don't actually want to be an underperformer? It inspires them to do a better job, to step up. They point out in the Seattle Times coverage of this that their employees at Zillow, and this is not just in Washington but around the country, they work from home. They work remotely. Yeah, well, guess what? It's easy to underperform if you're working remotely, and you think you're going to be untouchable until you're not. And while I imagine there's always going to be a small percentage of people who are deemed underperformers who vehemently disagree, and they'll say, how dare you? I perform better than anybody. I'm the best performer ever. Rethink that, because I don't think they would fire someone who's the best performer ever. But I think most people know that they're underperformers. Most people know in their heart, in their head, that they're not doing a great job, either instinctively or because they see everybody around them doing more, or, like I tell Jackson all the time, you suck at your job. Like they're telling you that you're bad. How often do you think people are truly shocked when they are labeled an underperformer? Truly shocked.
Seldom.
1%? Most people, I truly believe, no. And those are the worst kinds of employees. They know and they're doing nothing about it. They know, but they're doing nothing about it. And they're still making excuses about why they didn't get their report in on time, or, whatever it is that they do. Why they keep failing or why they're not doing as well. Well, I wasn't trained. You've worked here for 3.5 years. What do you mean you weren't trained? Well, it's not fair because of... No, it is fair. It's you.
Okay, I get it. You don't need to keep laying it on me.
Well, stop blaming Duncan for everything all the time. I couldn't get the audio done because Duncan puked again in the communal kitchen. I had to clean it up. Did you? We have janitorial staff. We have an entire sports station. Have one of them do it. They're not real journalists. I'm kidding. And I will say this. I would rather someone who is an underperformer who knows and is trying than someone who's just an underperformer. And sometimes I would rather someone who is like that. The attitude is half the time, for me at least. And I've worked in radio all my life, since I was 15 years old. And I've always been someone who has tried to overperform. I haven't always overperformed, right? But I've always tried. And I like to think that that got me somewhere. And I've met people who used to be in this building. I said this to him all the time. Jeff, I'll say his name because I love Jeff. He's one of my favorite. He was not the best at what he did, but he had the best attitude because he's always like, you know what? I know I just messed this up. I'm going to try even harder next time. And sometimes got better. Sometimes it was exactly the same, but it was the attitude that he had that made me really appreciate the work that he did. And I will take that every single time over someone who, even if they kind of work hard but don't perform well, like, yeah, okay, you're trying, but you're not really doing anything. Again, did you put that in your calendar? We're going to meet after the meeting, after the show. It'll be upstairs. You know that office on the right?
Yeah.
You know that office?
Uh-huh.
In that one.
Oh, okay.
Just don't read into it. My office is just a little bit. I had sardines for lunch again today. It smells in there. So I went upstairs and I said, hey, HR director, can we meet in here? And yeah, no, sure. You can be here for this entire meeting. Oh, you want to lead it? Okay. I'm such a jerk. Push the button.
What's trending? The sports ball.
So the Seahawks got a spirited send-off as they headed to California. This happened yesterday morning. They departed Renton for, did they go to Boeing Field?
I think so.
Right? I'm assuming it was a private jet, or they all were like, hey, now that we can actually request certain seats at Southwest, we decided to book that way. So they got their Southwest tickets. A lot of the players, because they're not jerks and they have an endless budget, they bought 2 seats each, not because they're fat, but because they're big guys. I mean, some of them are fat, I guess, but like athletic fat. They went down there, but on the way to, on the way getting onto their bus from their facility, then down to Boeing Field, a bunch of people showed up. I've covered these kinds of things before on the soccer side for the Sounders. And, it's kind of interesting. You have a bunch of people who just show up and it's never a nice day. It's always cold or wet or something. And yet they still come out and they're cheering on their team. And I'm guessing it actually does mean something for the players. The players and staff, they know that they've got support, right? I mean, the 12s are kind of stand out as far as football fans are concerned for their passion and their passive aggressiveness. But to have a bunch of people show up and wish them well, I bet you even for the seasoned veteran, they respond the same way as the rookie does, looking around and saying, you know what, that's pretty cool. One fan spoke with Como and jinxed everything.
That was exciting. We've been coming to these for years, and it just gets better and better.
What are you expecting?
A blowout.
Really?
Huge win.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a few thoughts on that. Number one, who was that? That sounded like one of our least favorite reporters there, whose name I can't remember now. The one I accused of lying at the about one of the anti-Semitic.
Joel Moreno?
Thank you. I think that was Joel, but I couldn't quite tell. I love when he says, what do you expect? Which is a stupid question, by the way. But then after she said a blowout, he said 2 times, really? You expect them to win? Really? Huh? It's number one. Number two, she said she's been here multiple times. Well, there could only have been 4, right? Total. This would have been a 4th. But I'm presuming the first one was because she didn't seem like she was that old. She seemed relatively young, didn't she?
Yeah.
So let's just say this is her 3rd time coming. First time, okay. Second time, I would have expected that answer. Yeah, I come all the time. I'm expecting a blowout. How could you expect a blowout after the second time against the Patriots? What do you mean you expect a blowout? What does that mean? Why do you expect that here? You can say, I'm hoping for a win. Don't put the bad vibes out there of expectations. Don't do that. I don't like that.
You could, at least say, you could even say, I wouldn't be surprised if but don't say I expect.
I'm hoping even. Or you could even say, I bet that it's going to be a blowout. I'm putting my money on. Okay, that's fine. Oh, for sure, it's going to be a blowout. And Joel's like, wait, what, really? Well, that's dumb.
You said that as she was like a complete idiot. Like, really?
I mean, listen to how he did. Listen to his tone in all of this. I think it's so funny.
And it just gets better and better.
What are you expecting?
A blowout.
Really?
Huge win.
Really?
Yes.
You sound like dismayed by that answer.
Yeah, first one was, really? Really? The second one was the real, you're a dummy. Really? Oh, okay. But by the way, who's the dummy? Who asked that stupid question? You. You did, dude. And in fairness to her, what's she supposed to say? Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't think they're going to win. I came out here out of pity because I thought it was going to be a blowout.
Vegas has it all wrong. We should be underdogs by 4.5 points, not favored.
I can't even believe we made it. But seriously, what kind of question is that? What do you want as an answer? And I suppose there's not. I feel bad for any reporter in that position because what are you supposed to ask? Like, Patty from Puyallup. What interesting question can you ask any of these people?
What I want to know is what Deborah Horn would have asked.
Deborah Horn would have said, "So you're here for the Seahawks, huh?" Yeah. I bet you it's a really exciting day being out here for the Seahawks. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. So you would say you're excited? Yeah. She does all the answering for the people. So she ends up asking a question that's just a yes or no answer, and they all answer yes or no, and then they stop because Deborah Horn was the worst. Was there ever a time, not to get into this, was there ever a time in which Deborah Horn was not lazy in her questions and tried to insert herself into every single story? Ever? There had to have been. There has to be the golden years of her.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been here since 2024, but in my time, no.
I could never recall any time she's ever excelled. Unlike me, who excels every single day. 3 to 7 right here on Seattle Red. That's all.
But what if she may not have been good, but did she have the right attitude?
No, she was annoying. She was annoying. You know who has the right attitude since we're on Como? Jeremy Harris. I like him. He asks tough questions, good questions. Every once in a while, they throw him on a stupid story like SeaTac. Is it SeaTac or SEA?
Well, they probably had a staffing shortage that day.
No doubt. Someone called in sick. It's like, Jackie Kent is out again. God, how does she have so many sick days? What's going on? Hey, Jeremy, I don't want to waste you on a crummy story. These are Jackie's stories. Can you go ahead and do it?
It's not your normal beat, but.
And he's like, I'm offended you're asking me, but I'm a team player. I'll go ahead and do a Jackie Kent story. Wait, was this stolen from someone else? No, this was assigned from you, so it wasn't a stolen story. So it's not really a Jackie Kent story. I don't forget. Did you get a sense of excitement this past weekend ahead of the Seahawks? I know tomorrow is technically the start of their week of media, whatever, Media Row. I think our sister station is going to be down there. So that's exciting. I've done not sporting event media rows, but I've done like RNC and DNC conventions. I imagine they're all run pretty much the same. It's just different kinds of, it's probably similar guests actually. Yeah, they'll offer you, out of the 100 guests that you're offered in a day, 92 will be like, no, why would I interview that person? Then there's always someone who will awkwardly pitch themselves to you, and you have to say no to their face. Like, no, I'm good. or every once in a while, because usually when I've gone, I've been without a producer on site. But every once in a while it wasn't Cookie. I can't remember who. It was some Fox producer who happened to be nearby. And I was like, he's my producer. Go pitch to him. And he would bother him. He wouldn't even know that I sent them over. And then I would just leave. I did that multiple times. But these are people who come from, I'm naming the Heritage Foundation. It wasn't them. But it was like one of those kinds of group, but I've never heard of them. So they would come up, hey, would you be interested in interviewing me about No, I would not. Or I'd be like, just leave your card here and my producer will reach out to you if we're interested. And every once in a while, I'm doing a show and they would just walk up to me and start talking to me, pitching me while I'm doing the show. Like I'm literally talking on air. You see me talking on air. I'm talking into a microphone with headphones on.
Well, those academic types, they're very absent-minded.
Oh, they're not all academics. Ooh, look, here's a pen. If you push this button, a little light comes out on the other side and it looks like Trump. Okay. Wow, it's really great. Thanks. What am I supposed to talk to you about? You think I'm just going to have you to pimp your pen? And then 5 guests a day are really top notch. And if you have a good producer or you're smart and you're not looking to desperately fill air, you get those 5 and then you got an entire good show. For all the ones I said no to, I got Ted Cruz. I got all these big names. I think Mike Huckabee was on the list. Ben Carson. That guy from that thing. Yeah, he was on. That was my biggest show. Unforgettable. Forgot his name. 1-800-465-8770 for your text. This hour brought to you by the Northwest Safe Company. Speaking of the Seahawks, there were a lot of folks who were awfully excited in Kirkland. We'll tell you what they did to get fired up for the Hawks and make fun of whichever reporter was assigned to this from Fox 13 when we come back on the Jason Rantz Show.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you. Smooth accelerators. When that light turns green, you're off. Like a warm knife through firm butter. Going from 0 to the speed limit in an appropriate amount of time. Sure, your car has horsepower, but your horses prance around as silky smooth as your right foot. Fancy Prancerton. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Do you like helping others? Become a Shiva volunteer. In Skagit County, join the hundreds of volunteers across Washington state who help over 90,000 people each year with their Medicare options and questions. You don't have to know Medicare. We'll teach you. And if you're bilingual, even better. For more information and how to apply, call Shiva at 1-800-562-6900 or go to insurance.wa.gov.
Sponsored by the Office of the Insurance Commissioner and aired by the Washington State Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Spring is right around the corner, but the perfect time to start your outdoor project is right now. Natural Design Landscaping has been serving Seattle and the East Side for nearly 30 years. They design, build, and maintain stunning outdoor spaces, from full makeovers to weekly maintenance. Beat the spring rush and get your yard project started today. Mention Seattle Red and get 10% off your first service. Visit naturaldesignlandscape.com to schedule your consultation. Natural Design Landscaping, let's build something wonderful together.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait, and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I saw her texting, coming up to a stop sign, and so I saw the accident coming, and she T-boned us.
In the blink of an eye, Crystal's life changed when she suffered a severe spinal injury.
The pain was something I had never experienced before in my neck. I got massage therapy. I saw a chiropractor. I was prescribed muscle relaxers so I could sleep. I got depressed. Nothing was relieving the pain.
Drugs, sleepless nights, and depression. Sound familiar? I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist. At Sound Pain Solutions, our treatments include high-dose laser combined with spinal decompression and other comprehensive therapies to rehabilitate damaged discs. We use treatments that are non-surgical, FDA-cleared, drug and pain-free.
I was able to get off my pain medicines, and I was able to sleep through the night, and that was what I was desperate for.
To learn if you're a candidate for our treatment, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025, or click soundpainsolutions.com.
Sammamish, Kent, Olympia, Everett.
This is the Big Local on the Jason Rantz Show.
Centralia, Lakewood.
Stories about you, not about Seattle.
Look at that, 4:30 on a weekday afternoon. That means it's time for the Big Local. Brought to you by The Scott Jennings Show, heard weeknights, 8 to 10 right here on Seattle Red. This is the part of the show where we completely ignore stories coming out of Seattle, and instead, we focus all of our attention on the communities you live in and care about most. We start on the Snoqualmie Pass, where Como reports a high-speed chase ended with a child being rescued safely, thank God, and the arrest of a driver suspected of DUI and reckless driving. The Washington State Patrol said they were called in for a possible DUI westbound on I-90 coming over the Snoqualmie Pass. They say the vehicle was driving 90-plus miles per hour, passing vehicles on the shoulder and drifting out of its lane. A trooper located the vehicle on the shoulder of westbound 18 near Tiger Mountain Summit. And you know what that trooper discovered? That car was out of gas. Huh. They say they took the driver into custody on charges of DUI, reckless driving, and reckless endangerment because there was a kid in the vehicle. And it looked like a toddler. They don't give you the age of the kid, but they do say that the kid is okay. The vehicle was impounded. Is it possible the driver, because you know what they call me? You know what my middle name is?
What?
Glass Half Full Rants.
Oh, yeah.
So let me posit this as a explanation. This person was speeding to try to get quicker to a gas station because they were running out of gas. And they didn't want to be stuck overnight with the child on the pass because it was cold.
And they were getting better mileage by going faster.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was downhill.
Oh, yeah.
This part. What?
You
know what immediately came to mind when I saw this story? My experience coming back from Cle Elum, from Brandy Cruz's wedding, and then my electric vehicle lost its battery. And at one point, I was trying to go as fast as possible without hitting the gas, and it was going downhill. So I was just using that for cruising, basically, because every single second that went by, the battery started to deplete. That's all I thought of. So I'm giving this person a pass. Let it be known. I'm giving this person a pass. We've all done it. Allegedly drove drunk, speeding 90 miles per hour with a kid in the car, weaving in and out of traffic and then going in the shoulder. Who amongst us? What do they say about casting the first stone in a house of glass without judging that house by its cover? That saying. So I'm with the driver. Meanwhile, say it ain't so. A 16-year-old boy was arrested last night for allegedly robbing a gas station in Sultan, the gem of Snohomish County, and then leading law enforcement on a lengthy police pursuit. Snohomish County Sheriff's deputies responded to a robbery at Mann Station. They got probable cause for a second-degree robbery. Monroe police were able to locate the suspect on Highway 2, pursued the car southbound on State Route 522. They deployed the GPS tracking system called Star Chase, which it just shoots out this little in a way, it's like an air tag, but it gets stuck to the vehicle, and thus they can track wherever it's driving. And it seems like in many cases, it doesn't make a big enough thud on the car for the driver to even realize that he or she had been tagged. So they end up deploying this technology, and then Snow 911 dispatchers relayed the real-time updates of the location to the deputies who were coordinating the arrest. And they ended up finding the suspect's vehicle on I-405 South, pursued it for a short time while eventually saying, okay, never mind, this is still getting dangerous. Let's go ahead and let the Star Chase tracking system work. The suspect drove into a Woodinville neighborhood where he stopped. Sultan law enforcement then made contact with the suspect, then took him into custody without incident. 16-year-old kid allegedly responsible for this. Now, I'm grateful to know he apparently is from or is living in Woodinville instead of Sultan, because I don't want a black mark on the reputation of Sultan, the gem of Snohomish County. They don't need that. They've already got enough to deal with because of the State Route 2 and all the crazy traffic that you can even get away without getting stuck on traffic coming out of Sultan. That, again, almost deserves a pass. How'd he do that? Have you ever driven through Sultan and not gotten stuck in traffic? It's not possible.
I don't really drive through Sultan much, but...
Why can't you just say? You can't just go with it? Why couldn't you just go with it? Remember that book I got you?
Yeah.
What is it? Improv.
Yeah.
What's the one rule of improv?
Isn't it what, yes and?
Yes and. What does that mean?
Yeah, go with the flow.
Yeah, you say yes and then you add to it. Mm-hmm. What did you do? What did you just do?
I said...
The opposite. You said no but. Or no, you didn't even say that. You just said no, period. Why couldn't you just go with it? Want to try that again? Have you ever driven through Sultan and not gotten stuck in traffic?
I've... wait a minute, but the answer to this question is no, right? So it's not yes.
But that's yes and still.
Okay.
You said I don't drive through Sultan.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. No, I've never gone through Sultan and not gotten stuck in traffic.
Well, you're lying. I can tell you're lying. You never drive through Sultan, and everyone knows that. You think we're stupid? We know. Why would you be driving through Sultan all the time? You live in Issaquah. Well, for what purpose would you be going through Sultan for? What route are you where are you going? Leavenworth? You know, you don't have to go through Sultan to get to Leavenworth.
It's a shortcut.
A shortcut? By adding 45 minutes to your drive? That doesn't make any sense. Meanwhile, in Kirkland, help me explain what happened. They went to the waterfront, a bunch of people, Seahawks fans, 12s, and they just brought other 12s from the neighborhood to get together and cheer on the Seahawks. They invited, I guess, media down there. Fox 13, I think, I only saw coverage from Fox 13. But they had like a drum line, and Jim Zorn was there. Did they just not want to make the drive to Renton to send the team off?
They wanted to plow their own acres and do their own thing.
You want to hear from one fan?
Yeah.
This fan says he has a Seahawks conch shell that's supposed to bring good vibes. Oh, God, there's that word.
So I have a conch shell that I bring to the stadium with me. I blow that on the touchdowns.
I'm sure, by the way, that that's not incredibly annoying to the people seated right in front of you and your stupid conch shell. How is it that you can bring a conch shell into the stadium? You can't bring a bottle of water.
You just smuggle it in. It's not metal.
You can't smuggle it in. What do you you just put it under your coat and say no? It's a tumor.
Wear a thick coat.
What do you?
They're not that big, conch shells. I mean,
a horn conch shell. How little is it?
I mean, it's probably smaller. It's probably
bigger than a softball, isn't it? Or a softball size?
Well, different shape, but it's probably about that size, yeah.
Yes, I know it's a different shape, dummy. I know the conch shell is not a perfect circle. But they're big. And how do you get one that makes a horn sound?
Oh,
it's not easy.
I think you can just...
Don't they have to get shaped in a certain way? No, I think he just got it from...
I don't think they have
sound.
to be necessarily.
I think it does. What do you know about? What's your What's your knowledge base on conch shells?
They blow them in Hawaii sometimes. They have like the guys that run around.
Okay, we got it, Mr. World Traveler. I've been to Hawaii.
And I have my Eagle staff. And what this does is it brings in good energy and wards off bad energy.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense. What do you mean it brings in good energy? You're blowing air out of the conch shell. How does that bring in good energy when you're blowing out of it?
So I bring it to every I've had season tickets for 30 years.
Yeah, well, why don't you pay attention to your dog, sir? Okay? Because your dog's like, I'm very uncomfortable here. I'm a Patriots fan, by the way, and it's very loud with all the drumming. And you told me we're going for a walk. You just took me down a block to go hang out with other football fans. I didn't even get a selfie with Jim Zorn, who was also there.
It's always great to see so many of the 12s out here supporting the Hawks. Not game time yet, but when you talk to everybody, everybody's gearing up for next week. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's everybody's energized, I should say. This is the fourth Super Bowl of the Seahawks in our history, and we need another win. So I'm gearing up for that.
Is he the one I like? Is he the one who ran for office as a Republican, or was that Largent?
Steve Largent was a congressman.
Was it? Okay, so
yeah,
but
from Oklahoma.
Let's just go with Jim being a conservative because that'll make me happy.
He probably is.
Right? I mean, he's a football player and he's a quarterback, so he's a little bit smarter than the people who got hit in the head all the time. What? It's true. You think he's going to be mad we labeled him a conservative? First of all, he lives in the East Side, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Already, you're more likely to be a conservative.
Yeah. Well,
although Kirkland, I don't know. Well, he's not a 42-year-old cat lady.
That's true, yeah.
So he probably is. Oh, my. Do we have time for one more?
Yeah, we can sneak it in.
Okay, yes. So there was a story, and I've got it up over at seattlered.com. It's actually a really important one. I hope you'll check out. There was an article in the Spokesman Review that got picked up by the Seattle Times that I saw last week. And it's about Border Patrol detaining a quote-unquote Spokane dad and his fourth grade daughter. And it was engineered to make you feel something first and then ask questions maybe later. This was a classic trick of activist journalism where you give the reader a victim narrative and you quietly leave out some pretty important facts. This is advocacy journalism. And it was about a guy named Arnoldo Teal Call. And he's presented as this law-abiding dad who was simply trying to get his daughter to school when those evil ICE agents showed up. And they quote Olga Lucia Herrera in this. She is a volunteer who was helping this guy navigate court proceedings. And they write in the article, he has an active asylum case and a court date for 2027, a valid work permit, and a social security number, Herrera said. He had made nearly every appointment for a regular check-in with immigration officials, except for a recent date around the holidays when he was having phone problems. So what's your takeaway from that? Guy was following all the rules. He's going through the asylum process the way he's supposed to. He's got a court date coming up. Sure, he missed one check-in because he had phone problems. Haven't you ever had a phone problem? It happens. And because of that, they targeted him. And not just him, but his kid being detained. Isn't that awful? Then we've got a separate article that quotes Bob Ferguson using this to slam Donald Trump. I know, shocking. The problem, of course, is everything that they put in there was apparently false. Because I reached out specifically to Customs and Border Patrol. It wasn't ICE, it was CBP. And I don't know, maybe they like me. Because I just was like, hey, can you get me some info on this? And I think like 14 hours later, they're like, hey, I can't remember if I sent this to you, but here's all the information. You know how they said he missed one? It was just, one time around the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let me just read you the statement. In 2023, remind me, who was president then?
Biden.
Okay, so the problem started in 2023. In 2023, Teal Call missed 3 check-in appointments with ICE and was issued another notice to appear. Between October 21st, 2024 and May 1st, 2025, he missed 7 additional check-ins with ICE. On July 10, 2025, Teal Call was terminated from ICE's Alternatives to Detention program due to non-compliance after 7 more violations. So I'm not great at the math, but 2 7s plus 3, 14, 15, 16, 17. Plus the termination from the alternative to detention. Now, I suppose maybe every single one of those 14 instances of missing an appointment, maybe they were maybe his phone, he's got an Android phone. It doesn't do very well. Maybe. Or something else is up here. And at some point you have to say, okay, maybe one missed appointment with a reasonable excuse is not a means or not a reason or justification to make an arrest. You do have to come up with a number of missed appointments, right? And look, maybe we can debate on what that number should be. Someone listening right now might say 2 is too many. Okay. Can we all acknowledge 17 is 17 too many? That seems pretty reasonable. Oh, and by the way, they detained his kid. The article itself says he has no family in this state, in this country. He's from Guatemala. The mother and the sister live in Guatemala. So just as again, little seemingly important detail, I guess they could have just left the kid to his own devices out in Spokane. Or they say, hey, you don't have any family members here. Let's keep the family together rather than do what the Democrats said we were doing when we weren't doing it, separating families. What else were they supposed to do? It's just so ridiculous. Now, I've got this report up with these details at seattlered.com. Please read it and share it. Left-wing media gets away with this because no one seems interested in printing out any of these details, and then before you know it, it becomes one of those phony stories of how evil people are at ICE. So head on over to seattlered.com, 1-800-465-8770 for your text. We've got 2 stories. You get to pick the one we discussed. Story number 1, Jameel Hill is back. She says Donald Trump only arrested Don Lemon because he's black. Although, you know what? Progress, because he didn't go after him for being gay. It was just because he's black. Or story number 2, a Florida couple sues an IVF clinic after DNA tests reveal the baby isn't theirs. That's tough. That's a little bit of a conundrum, I suppose. Which story should we cover? 1-800-465-8770. It's Jason Rantz Show.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rirucka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with 0 investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com.
Be a part of all the excitement at Beasley Coliseum this year. Come cheer on the Washington State Cougars men's and women's basketball teams as they host the likes of Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and Oregon State in conference play this season. Don't miss out on all the action. Grab your tickets to upcoming WSU basketball games today at WSUCougars.com/tix. Again, that's WSUCougars.com/TIX. See you at Beasley Coliseum. Go Cougs!
John Curley here. We value things that last. Local businesses, relationships, community. That's Madrona Financial and CPAs. They've been serving Washington families for decades, combining taxes and investments under one roof. Most firms just do one or the other, but not both. That's why Madrona offers the Madrona Analysis, a simple review of income, taxes, and investments in one plan. Call 833-673-7373 for your complimentary Madrona Analysis. Madrona Financial and CPAs. Local, trusted, and here to put the whole picture together.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. Winter weather means slick roads, darker mornings, and more accidents across Western Washington. If you or someone you care about ends up on the side of the road after a crash, safety comes first. Get out of harm's way, exchange information, and make sure a police report is filed. But then make the most important call you can make. Harold Carr Law Offices. That one call can save you time, frustration, and a whole lot of money. After an accident, your job is to heal and get back to your life, your family, your work. It's not to sit on hold with insurance companies or chase paperwork or argue over medical bills. That's what Harold Law Offices does for you. Their 48-person legal team handles the insurance companies, fights for the full value of your claim, and takes the stress off of your plate. They don't get paid unless you do. If you've been in a car accident this winter, remember the name you can trust. Harold Carr Law Offices. Carr is spelled C-A-R-R. They're online at carlaw.com. C-A-R-R. Carlaw.com. Car accident? Call Carr. And tell them Jason Rantz sent you. carlaw.com.
A recent 5-star General Transmission Google review.
Well, I went to General Transmission because they're the only shop I could find advertising they'd fix my transmission instead of replacing it. Mark took my transmission out, showed me the problem, and suggested a repair. Super honest, super fair, super knowledgeable, and they saved me thousands. I'm a customer for life. Thanks, Mark. No other shop would have done that for me.
Need more convincing? Check out General Transmission's other 5-star Google reviews and let them speak for themselves. And learn more at generaltransmission.com. Hey, this is Pete from Home Matters. Tune in this weekend when we'll talk with local business owners about everything in and around your home. Join us on Saturdays from 2 to 3 right here on Seattle Red, or listen to the podcast on mynorthwest.com.
If you need security for your event or business, contact Security Services Northwest. From armed and unarmed officers to advanced remote monitoring, they've been doing it all since 1977. Go to ssnwhq.com for Security Services Northwest.
You pick the topic on the Jason Rantz Show.
Indeed you do. And you are as curious as I am about this Florida couple at a Longwood who filed an emergency lawsuit against a fertility clinic, quote-unquote, alleging that their newborn child is not genetically related to either of them after an IVF procedure. If you were to just look at a photo of this adorable little kid, it is very clear that the kid is not related in any way, shape, or form to the two parents. There's a clear difference in race. And
it sticks out, yeah.
It's very obvious. The couple is suing IVF Life, saying that there was clearly a mix-up. There's no relationship genetically to us at all, and obviously this is not what we went there for. The attorney for the parents is Mara Hatfield. Here is some audio that WESH 2 Orlando picked up speaking to the judge in this case.
I just want to be able to ascertain what more they can be doing to ensure that all parties who will fall in love with this baby know of her existence and to be able to secure their embryos that they stored with the defendant so that we can find and secure the remaining embryo or embryos, and so that we can notify the genetic parents of Shay of her existence. We're trying to both identify who got the patient's embryos, as well as we're trying to identify what set of parents did Shay's embryo come from.
That's the piece here that, like, there's so many complications to this story, just emotional complications. And the couple said to WESH TV, while we are beyond grateful to have her in our lives, the child, and love her immeasurably, we also recognize that we have a moral obligation to find her genetic parents. Our joy over her birth is further complicated by the devastating reality that her genetic parents, whom we do not yet know, or possibly another family entirely, may have received our genetic embryo. We are heartbroken, devastated, and confused. And that's probably putting it lightly, because that is another piece of this. Did they simply make one mistake, or were there two mistakes? And let's say there is another family, and they figure it all out. There's like, this is our genetic daughter, that's our genetic daughter, or something, whatever it is. To me, that seems like a simple swap, right? But doesn't that feel gross still?
Yeah,
like there's just something wrong, even though morally, ethically, there's nothing wrong with that. The child has no idea. It's a newborn kid, and it was clearly a mistake through no fault of the parents. You've got one set of parents who go, no, that's my kid. I want my kid. And the other parent's saying the same thing. It still feels gross.
It feels like you're treating human beings as like a commodity.
Yes. But how do you get out of this? Should they, and what happens if one side, to your point, adopts that exact same perspective? The other family has the child that should have gone to this couple in Florida. Go, no, I don't want to treat this child as a commodity. I don't like the transactional nature of this. God interfered in this way and put this child in my life for a reason, and we're going to go with it. How do you not, as the other family who wants to do a swap, how do you cope with that? How do you not get upset and even almost resentful of the child that you've been given? I believe them to a degree when they say we're grateful to have her in our lives, right? I think that's fine. But the second that they got a hold of their daughter, I'm assuming, again, you don't need a DNA test to realize that there's no relation here. It's pretty obvious. I have to assume you're like, what's this? What? Huh? No. You gave me the wrong child. No, it says it's yours on the chart. I'm not leaving the hospital with that.
They're like, oh, buyer beware.
I'm like, no. What are you supposed to do? There's no way around this, assuming all these details are accurate. I'm at a loss to explain how to handle a situation like this, especially when a lot of it will depend on what the other parents want to do. How does this even happen? If you're the hospital, do you not recognize that this kid appears to be Indian or something before you hand it over to the white parents? Or black, or to the white, none of, or do you say, I don't know all that, I'm just the nurse. I'm a minimum wage employee. I'm just told to hand over kids. I
just clock in and I clock out.
What do you want, man?
I'm just going through the motions.
I'm almost done with my day, and you're bringing this drama into my life. This is your problem. I don't know how you handle this. I'd be curious to find out from you guys at home. 1-800-465-8770 for your text. 1-800-465-8770. Next hour, Andrea Suarez from We Heart Seattle just did a major park cleanup in Seattle. You're not going to want to miss what they found.
Be a part of all the excitement at Beasley Coliseum this year. Come cheer on the Washington State Cougars men's and women's basketball teams as they host the likes of Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and Oregon State in conference play this season. Don't miss out on all the action. Grab your tickets to upcoming WSU basketball games today at WSUCougars.com/tix. Again, that's WSUCougars.com/TIX. See you at Beasley Coliseum. Go Cougs!
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Remember that time we were driving through France and for some reason we didn't have GPS?
Oh, for some reason? That reason would be that you didn't plug your phone in because you didn't have a charger.
Yeah, because I let you borrow my phone so you could call your mother, and you're on the phone for like 30 minutes telling her where we are. But that aside, we didn't know where we were going. We did fight a little bit because we didn't know where we were going. I think that Longevity Medical Clinic is like the GPS for us. They tell us which turns to make. They tell us which directions to go, right?
They do. And now I feel like the two of us together have a clear path and we have more control over our own health care.
Right, exactly. So you don't have to get out of the car and try to find information somewhere. It's all right there. As you're aging, all the little sort of turns you have to make in order to be able to have lots of energy and to enjoy your life. So for as far as I'm concerned, Longevity Medical Clinic is our GPS. Do what Nick and I have done. Take a free health analysis at lmclinic.com. That's lmclinic.com.
Do you like helping others? Become a Shiva volunteer in Whatcom County. Join the hundreds of volunteers across Washington state who help over 90,000 people each year with their Medicare options and questions. You don't have to know Medicare. We'll teach you. And if you're bilingual, even better. For more information and how to apply, call Shiva at 1-800-562-6900 or go to insurance.wa.gov.
Sponsored by the Office of the Insurance Commissioner and aired by the Washington State Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Seattle Red on 770 KTTH Seattle, 97.3 KIRO FM, HD3 Tacoma Seattle, 94.5 K233 DT Eastlake, 33 BU Seattle.
She may have been abducted. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The investigation and search for a network TV anchor's mother takes a serious turn in Arizona.
We do, in fact, have a crime.
Pima County, Arizona Sheriff Chris Nano said that's what the scene at the home of 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie indicates. She's the mother of Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie and was reportedly last seen at her home Saturday evening. Sheriff Nano said drones and search dogs are being used. Now they're also turning to the community and what they may have captured on doorbell or surveillance cameras.
Don't dismiss it that, oh, well, we really can't see the house. They still might see something. Maybe it's somebody walking by. Maybe it's a vehicle driving by at that time of day.
The sheriff said they will also talk to workers that maintain the home to find out what they may have seen.
Fox's Gernal Scott. Every Homeland Security officer in Minneapolis is now being issued a body camera. Secretary Kristi Noem made the announcement earlier today. This coming after the deadly shooting last week of Alex Preddy by immigration officers in Minneapolis and the shooting last month of Renee Good. Democrats are pushing for reforms to the Department of Homeland Security as part of a longer-term spending package. A vote on a short-term plan and other spending bills expected tomorrow in the House.
The question for Republicans will continue to be, are you going to double and triple down on your extremism, which is getting you nowhere with the American people? Or try to find a bipartisan path forward to actually address the issues that matter?
House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries. If no Democrats vote in favor of the plan, House Speaker Mike Johnson can only afford to lose one Republican. A federal judge has blocked the Trump administration from ending temporary protections that have allowed about 350,000 Haitians to live and work in the U.S. America's listening to Fox News.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZzzQuil Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZzzQuil Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
The yellow light! God, I'm walking here!
Good afternoon and welcome to the Jason Rantz Show. We are here live on Seattle Red 770 AM. We are streaming live on the Seattle Red app. Online at seattlered.com. Russell Wilson mentioned in the Epstein files. What? We'll explain. But first, a Seattle council member dropped an F-bomb in a rant against ICE. Except she put it in a press release. Oh, God. That's what's trending, brought to you by Legacy Group Capital's Northwest Fund.
What's trending in Seattle?
We should clear something up right at the beginning here, that when a Seattle City Council member drops an F-bomb in an official press release, that is not resistance. It is not some sort of moral clarity. That is a tantrum. And that's precisely what we got on Friday night from Deborah Juarez, an appointed Seattle City Council member who responded to ICE activity in the Seattle region by issuing a vulgar activist screed that doesn't read like some sort of government statement, but something scribbled on a protest sign 10 seconds before going on a march. Like, what do I come up with? Oh, I know, F ICE. Except she wrote it all the way out. Now, the backdrop matters here. ICE, as we told you last week, has made a number of arrests recently. Among them is a drug dealer and a rapist. Actual criminals. People already in the system. People who have gone through the system. Most people, including in Seattle, probably would have no problem going after a convicted rapist who's in this country illegally. That's not controversial in the least. The only controversy was about, quote unquote, ICE spottings near a school. That never actually happened. The ICE was never near a school. That was a made-up thing. And instead of offering some kind of critique maybe about ICE policy, something that reasonable people, I suppose, can disagree with or disagree over, debate. We can debate priorities, legal standards, jurisdiction, I guess, just general strategies. Okay, fine. But she goes to this moral hysteria, accusing ICE of crimes against humanity and framing this as above debate. We don't debate this. This is a moral emergency, and you need to resist. She says, fight back. She says, F ICE. She adopts language to abolish ICE. You know, Seattle leaders, including Deborah Juarez at one point, they keep telling us that they care about public safety, but the second that federal agents remove a rapist from the community, the response isn't a thank you. The response isn't showing some sort of relief. Phew, we got another one of these monsters off our streets. It's rage. It's anger against ICE for doing the very job that they ought to be doing. The priority isn't victims or neighborhoods. It's ideological purity, and it's done to get the, plaudits of activists. It was juvenile and self-indulgent and completely unserious, but I'm sure Deborah Juarez wants us to think that it was bold, it was principled. Pat her on the back. Good on you, Deborah. We love that kind of performative nonsense. Got it written up over at seattlered.com if you want to check it out. Let's find out what else is trending.
What's trending? Celebrity news.
Not today, Satan. Those are the words of Russell Wilson, former Seahawks quarterback. I don't know if you guys noticed, but yesterday his name was all over Twitter because his name was mentioned in the Epstein files. And it wasn't a Russell Wilson who just shared the same name. It was the Russell Wilson. Apparently, according to this tweet that was making the rounds, which was taken offline by the person who posted it, he was accused of trying to purchase a jet from Jeffrey Epstein. That was in this message. Except Russell Wilson responded fairly quickly on X saying, nope, absolutely not. Not today, Satan. Some random plane broker tried to sell me a plane. I had no idea whose plane and never bought the plane. Never talked nor never met the man. Thank God. And then he had the emoji of the praying hands. Now, the story outside of, I don't want to say it went viral per se, but there were a lot. Did you see this over the weekend? There were a lot of people talking about
I actually
this.
didn't until today.
All I saw yesterday was this in the afternoon, early evening. And it reminded me of something we said on Friday's show. I think it was Friday's show. Just because someone's name is in the Epstein files, without any vetting, without any context at all, without the person who's even reporting on the name being mentioned looking at even a small percentage of all the files, does not mean that they're guilty of anything. And this is a perfect example, assuming he's not lying. And I don't think he is. I mean, Russell Wilson, of all the people you're going to tie to Epstein, really? You think that's going to fly?
He's a dork.
They're like, come on. There's zero chance. Bill Gates, that one I kind of believe. But even the Bill Gates one, as I said this on Friday, you don't know any of the context. You don't know why someone is putting this in writing the way that they are.
People do the same thing with the JFK files. They'll be like,
yes.
They'll see the word like Israel, and then they're like, aha, it was
See, it was the
Assad.
Jews. We put proof. It said Israel. And it was funny because when I did CNN, I think the first time, the night that I was on, there was this big drop of files. And I just knew they were going to say Trump's name was brought up. And I swear to God, I clicked on, at random, 6 files that had Trump's name in them. 6. Each one of them was a link to an article that had Trump's name in the headline or the URL. And yet, Trump as a keyword was, Trump is mentioned thousands of times in these emails, in these files. Like, no, not really, not in the context that you're claiming. So just everyone, including if someone's name is in this that you loathe, like a Bill Clinton, name alone, and this Russell Wilson story points this out brilliantly, doesn't mean anything other than a name was in a file somewhere. That's it. That's all it means. So do not just immediately jump on those. There's some emails that make it pretty clear people are at least engaging in some pretty shady stuff and maybe inappropriate jokes. But don't just assume something merely because a name was mentioned. That's all. Let's find out what else is trending.
What's trending? Dum Dum Alert.
Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, the grandma squad member, or the squad grandmother, representative from here in Seattle, she is feeling very, very in her element right now. She's been going on MS Now many times over the course of the last several weeks. Now she's pushing what she pushed during the defund movement, and they're using exactly the same language that they used during police defunding. It wasn't just about defunding. It was about dismantling and rebuilding. And we used to mimic that language all the time to point out what it is that they were saying. We want to dismantle and rebuild in the image or through the lens of a progressive. They wanted to do that across the board, not even just for policing, but for our institutions. That's how extreme they are. And she is reusing that exact kind of language when talking about both ICE and the Department of Homeland Security.
ICE and CBP did not exist prior to 9/11, prior to the Post-Patriot Act, period. The DHS was a creation. We can take enforcement. We can ramp it down significantly. We can put a lot less money into this kind of cruelty, and we can actually hold people accountable for what they are doing.
Now, again, remember what she's talking about is all enforcement. She pretends that it's not a crime to be in this country illegally. It is, in fact, a crime, and she doesn't tell you that the majority of the time we're talking about people who are repeat offenders, who have re-entered. She's just pretending because it's a civil matter. It doesn't mean it's not a crime in addition to some circumstances being a civil matter. But she does not want any kind of enforcement. That's why she says ramp it down significantly. What do you think significant is?
We do not need a military force enforcing immigration law. It is a civil system. So I think Democrats are pretty united on that. What they choose to call it may be a little confusing to people, but I do think that we are at a place where finally we can demand in a unified way real reforms and completely dismantle ICE and CBP and DHS.
Again, and DHS and the Department of Homeland Security. So ICE, Customs and Border Patrol, and remember, in fairness to Pramila Jayapal, she is a very much an open borders Democrat, but also DHS.
I'm not sure that DHS really needs to exist.
She doesn't think, all of a sudden she's like, what, a hardcore libertarian? You know, Thomas Massey and Pramila Jayapal, they can go hang out together.
Congresswoman, I hear you calling for dismantling, abolishing, whatever verb you want to use, ICE. Presumably that's not going to happen in the next couple of weeks as these negotiations are going on. Republicans are not going to agree to that, and they still hold the majority in both houses. What are the specific reforms that you can demand, or that you are demanding? What are the red lines now as a condition of passing these funding bills?
Yeah, I think this is a really important question. You're right. We can't completely do what we want to do without the majorities. But what we can do is insist that ICE and CBP get out of Minnesota and our cities across the country where they are terrorizing people.
Where they are terrorizing people. I mean, it's just so lazy, these talking points. And again, she does it on MS Now, where she knows she's not going to face any kind of meaningful pushback. And, you know, she talks at the end there, they were clearly talking about this vote that's supposed to happen tomorrow to reopen the government from this partial shutdown for full funding. There's a partial shutdown that most people won't really even feel or notice unless we told you that. But you know, Democrats are forcing Republicans to go through an onerous process of creating a new rule and voting on it. And none of the Democrats are supposedly going to be on board, or maybe a very small handful will. It's just needlessly long. Ro Khanna was on one of the Sunday shows yesterday, the NBC News Meet the Press, saying he's a firm no.
Get the DHS reforms that you all were asking for. You got 2 weeks to negotiate. There will be, it's expected, a House vote on Monday to reopen the government. Where do you stand right now, Congressman? Will you be voting yes to reopen the government?
I'm not just a no, I'm a firm no, and I'm going to advocate with colleagues that they vote no. Look, Bernie Sanders introduced an amendment, and he said, let's repeal the additional $75 billion that ICE...
Yeah, that ICE gets. Sorry, no, you guys just passed it, and they're not going to take that. And they're not repealing something they just passed. You lost that, and you're going to lose it again. They don't have the votes to really stall this unless some more Republicans jump ship. And, you know, Thomas Massie is always a threat, so you got to make sure that you're making up for that. And, you know, ironically, I suppose, what's her name? Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez, the battleground or Washougal Democrat who's trying to play at both sides on all of these issues, she will see how she votes in this. She previously voted to keep the government open and provide the funding. I don't know how she's feeling a lot of pressure right now. She's getting attacked by the far left. She's also obviously getting attacked by the right. So she's kind of we'll see. I don't want to say that it's anyone's guess. My gut tells me she's going to try to still play the moderate side, but actually that would be a guess on whether or not she's going to do it. So we'll keep an eye open on this. I'll be talking about this issue and some more tonight at 7 p.m. on News Nation. Katie Pavlich tonight. I'm a contributor. I'm on every single Monday, although not next week because I'm on CNN, so next week I'll be on Friday. But other than that, every single Monday, 7 p.m. on News Nation with Katie Pavlich tonight. Let's find out what else is trending.
What's trending? Media bias.
Dan Bongino earlier today returned to the Dan Bongino Show, a podcast only. I got some emails over the last week or so asking about his return to Seattle Red. He's not doing a radio show, so we can't bring him back. Now, obviously, if that ever changes, we will certainly do what we can to bring him back. I spoke to Dan a couple weeks ago. He was very, very pumped to be back on his show, and back on his show he was in a very big way. His first big guest, President Trump, which points out, I think, a few things. There was some reporting, and I believe there's probably some truth to this, no doubt. There was reporting that Dan Bongino was very upset with Pam Bondi's handling of the Epstein file and other issues, and that behind the scenes there was a lot of discomfort between both his camp and Pam Bondi's camp. Now, they obviously got along to the point of him staying in the job for a year, and none of any kind of discord between the two ever leaked to the public, ever got in front of the public. So I don't know if the stories that were written are entirely false, because he'd be right to call out, if this was his concern, the handling of the Epstein files. Pam Bondi really, really screwed that up. Really screwed that up. And I don't know why. She made a bunch of promises that she did not deliver on. And I don't know if it's because she thought she would be able to deliver on them, or she was speaking out of school. I don't know. But there was this big hype up from left-wing media about Epstein and the files being released. And, you know, to the extent that as a podcast host prior to joining the administration in the FBI, he was skeptical of whether or not there was a cover-up. He believed that there was. And then, as he indicated while he was in the administration, he looked at all the files, he looked at the investigative files at least, and said, okay, no, you know what? There isn't actually a cover-up. So what does he think now?
I love how people in the media acted like this was like new, as if the Biden team had done anything to get this stuff out. They'd done nothing. Zero. Of course there was going to be some disagreements on what do you do about grand jury material? What do you do about downloaded child pornography that was downloaded off the internet? He didn't create it, but what do you do about that? What do you do about all this? There was always going to be a disagreement. Of course, the media made this out to be like, remember that weekend? Like an intergalactic story.
I love that. And he's 100% correct that, you know, the media all of a sudden was interested in this story, and they demanded that the files be released, and they amplified the bad faith comments from Democrat talking heads and Democrat lawmakers like Pramila Jayapal, who all of a sudden was like, we have to stand up for these victims. And kudos to Pamela Brown over at CNN. I had done Situation Room, I think the day after some of the Epstein file story was out there, and I pointed out that there were people like Pramila Jayapal who have gone out of their way to claim that they need to have these files released ASAP, and yet you go on her Twitter account, you look at all of her press releases, she's spoken about everything other than releasing the Epstein files, and did nothing for the 4 years that President Biden was in charge, and they could have released all of this. They did nothing. And so Pamela Brown called Pramila Jayapal out at the time, and Pramila couldn't really respond, and so she just spun a little bit and deflected. But Bongino is 100% correct. But as I said, the president was on the show. Some comments, again out of context, were taken by left-wing media about how the president said we should be, quote unquote, taking over voting, except he didn't say take over vote as in just be, the ones who administer the entire system. He was talking about fraud and the unwillingness from left-wing secretaries of state to show voter rolls, which the federal government has every right to see. But they also got into what's been going on in Minnesota, and the president, again, made a simple ask and pointed out what this is all about. All the city, county, and state has to agree to is turning over criminal illegal immigrants in jail, in prison. This is not asking for a lot, and it's not controversial at all.
We want one thing in Minnesota. We can get out of there really fast. We want their prisoners. They've got jails with murderers, drug lords, rapists. They've got jails with the worst people. And they come out, Tren de Aragua. They come out, the worst gangs. We have the worst gangs. They have gangs that are so bad they look at you and they knife you up. We had it in Washington. They're all gone, by the way. They're all gone. But all we want is they have a lot of prisoners. They call it sanctuary city, and sanctuary cities are a disaster. So I put out an order, anybody that does a sanctuary city not getting any money. Let's see what happens. They'll get wiped out by these liberal courts. But the people understand nobody could do the job that we've done.
And he's, of course, correct. Now, again, everything he just said there, if Democrats on the ground in Minnesota, whether it's Jacob Fry or Governor Tim Walz or anybody else, if they really cared about getting ICE out of their communities, wouldn't they say, you know what, Mr. President, we will take you up on your offer. You've said this publicly. We will now say this publicly. All you want are criminal illegal immigrants who are currently in jail. Have at them. Here's the list. Come on over. We'll do this all in a quick way. Let's get it done by the end of the week, and then pack your bags. Get out. Now, ICE is not going to completely leave Minnesota. They've been in Minnesota for decades, the same way they've been in Washington for decades. But that's an easy way to handle this. So why do you think the Democrats are choosing not to take him up on this offer? They've shown some sudden willingness, at least at the state level, and we're hearing about willingness at the local level. Don't know to the extent that they're doing this, and I don't know how forthcoming they are about the people who are there. Why are they fighting so hard for criminal illegal immigrants who have already gone through the system? Their cases have already been adjudicated. Why would you fight to keep a convicted rapist or drug dealer or murderer or bank robber, whatever it is, in your city, county, and state? Why would you do that? Who is upset with that other than the far left base that do not support borders at all? They are open border Democrats. And if that's where the party wants to go, they should just be more open about it. Oh, no, they were open about it for 4 years under Joe Biden. Well, 3.5 years under Joe Biden. And we saw the mess that created and, of course, led to a shellacking at the presidential level. 1-800-465-8770 if you want to join the conversation. Andrea Suarez from We Heart Seattle stops by in a moment. She is trying to bring her sense of, common sense to the city of Wenatchee when it comes to homelessness. Plus, she and her group of volunteers just did a major cleanup at local parks. You will not believe what they found. You will not believe it. We're going to get into that and so much more when we return on The Jason Rantz Show.
Do you like helping others? Become a Shiva volunteer in Whatcom County. Join the hundreds of volunteers across Washington state who help over 90,000 people each year with their Medicare options and questions. You don't have to know Medicare. We'll teach you. And if you're bilingual, even better. For more information and how to apply, call Shiva at 1-800-562-6900 or go to insurance.wa.gov.
Sponsored by the Office of the Insurance Commissioner and aired by the Washington State Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Be a part of all the excitement at Beasley Coliseum this year. Come cheer on the Washington State Cougars men's and women's basketball teams as they host the likes of Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and Oregon State in conference play this season. Don't miss out on all the action. Grab your tickets to upcoming WSU basketball games today at WSUCougars.com/tix. Again, that's WSUCougars.com/TIX. See you at Beasley Coliseum. Go Cougs!
Hey, it's Jason Rantz here. If you're building a home and you need a construction loan, if you are doing some renovation on your home and you need a loan, if, for example, you're just trying to secure a traditional mortgage, the place I recommend is Legacy Group Capital. I've been working with them on a potential home loan. I can tell you personally that Legacy Group Capital makes it incredibly easy. They're one of Washington's largest local private portfolio lenders who have helped thousands of home buyers reach their financial goals with a common sense borrowing approach. They lend their own money, they make their own decisions. And so Legacy Group Capital, based in Bellevue, by the way, they can look at your deal. They can look at you. And if it makes sense, they make it happen. This is not all they do. You can also go to them for investments in real estate. It is remarkable how diverse their offerings are. All you have to do is go online, legacygroup.com, to find out more from the experts in private lending. Legacy Group Capital, legacygroup.com, or give them a call. Here's the number, 425-635-4700, 425-635-4700, or legacyg.com.
John Curley here. We value things that last. Local businesses, relationships, community. That's Madrona Financial and CPAs. They've been serving Washington families for decades, combining taxes and investments under one roof. Most firms just do one or the other, but not both. That's why Madrona offers the Madrona Analysis, a simple review of income, taxes, and investments in one plan. Call 833-673-7373 for your complimentary Madrona Analysis. Madrona Financial and CPAs. Local, trusted, and here to put the whole picture together.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. If you're stacking silver and gold, you already know the problem. When prices surged up around 200% this past year, your stack becomes a target. One break-in or house fire can wipe out years of hard work. That's why people call Northwest Safe, your local Liberty Safe dealer. Whether it's over the phone or in person, their expert sales staff will help guide you to the right safe to protect your valuables. Protect your metals, protect your peace of mind. Call 1-888-404-SAFE or visit nwsafe.com.
Is it time to get your home sold? Nick Southard with Upgrade Realty here. Selling hundreds of homes around the Sound for over 25 years has taught me presentation is everything. And with my luxurious marketing, you'll attract tons of buyers, sell fast at top dollar, and net more money. Because Upgrade Realty will save you thousands in fees for only 1% listing commission. To learn more, visit upgraderealty.com. Upgrade your listing for 1%. Upgraderealty.com.
Guy Benson here. I've been telling you about my new experience this year with the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. I wanted to drop a couple pounds, and they've got a program that if you stick to it, it really, really works. But I had this long scheduled vacation. So I called Dr. Coogan and his team. I said, listen, I want to do the program, but I don't want to fully be on the diet during this vacation. And they said, no problem. Stick to some of the overall principles, but enjoy yourself and then resume when you get back. So that's exactly what I did. I enjoyed the trip, came back, had not gained almost any of the weight back at all, and then it melted away within a day or two after that. Really satisfying. They customized this to your experience. They are there to help you and advise you every step of the way. They might even give you a cheat day on February 8th. I hear there's a big game that people in Seattle might care about. Make a 15-minute phone call. Get that on the schedule at Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. That's eastsideweightlossklinic.com. Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Hey, this is Pete from Home Matters, a show that covers everything having to do with your home. Tune in every Saturday from 2 to 3 on Seattle Red, where you'll hear from local business owners who are experts in their industries. From foundation to flooring, roofing and windows, furniture and financial planning, it's everything in and around your home, and we've got you covered here on Home Matters. If it matters to you, it matters to us here at Home Matters. Saturdays from 2 to 3 right here on Seattle Red, or listen to the podcast on mynorthwest.com.
The Jason Rantz Show.
All right, let's break it down with Seattle radio host and author Jason Rantz.
Jason, if I didn't know you, my first question would be, do you make these stories up?
No, they accepted this proposal.
I guess it's a measure of how much they really don't like Trump, isn't it?
Long form.
The folks over at We Heart Seattle, led by Andrea Suarez, they are hard at work. Just last week, they did a significant cleanup across parks, including Dr. Jose Rizal Park, and the amount of debris that they picked up, including used needles and tin foil used for fentanyl, is alarming, to say the least. And at the same time, as they're trying to help solve the crisis in Seattle, they're being called to action in Wenatchee. Joining me on the line to discuss is Andrea Suarez. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Jason. Glad to be here.
Let's start in Seattle, because you guys just did a pretty significant cleanup, and you picked up a whole lot of trash at these homeless encampments at our parks.
Yes, we did. We had, probably about 60 people turn out from multiple communities across North Beacon Hill and beyond, and several thousands of bagged trash were pulled out of the various encampments, and as well as thousands of pieces of used tinfoil to smoke fentanyl and needles, which was Saturday, but also we do that every single weekend, and we've been doing it for 5 years, trying to sound the alarm that the narcotics in the parks is a crisis in itself.
Have you seen any improvement at all?
There was a little bit under Harrell for sure. I've seen it revert back quite quickly over the last 4 months. And the issue kind of gets pushed from downtown. And then when they put an emphasis on 12th and Jackson, it moved across the bridge to Dr. Jose Rizal. And it's the worst I've seen in years. And there's actually 4 parks there. There's Sturgis, Lewis, Daejeon, where the Korean pagoda is, and Dr. Jose Rizal. So we fanned out actually across 4 different parks, near daycares, children's playgrounds, bus stops. And it's just absolutely destroyed by open air use of narcotics.
You said over the course of the last 4 months, you've seen things start to revert back to what it was like during the COVID years, which essentially was hands off. Homeless people get to do whatever it is they get to do. Obviously, this coincides with the election of not just Katie Wilson, but really, because it's 4 months, we're talking about a couple months of the Herald team just kind of doing nothing because they thought doing something might be politically harmful to them as they were out of office. But how would you categorize or characterize the Katie Wilson effect and strategy? Do we even fully have a strategy yet?
I know that the sweeps that we've seen so far were scheduled in December and beyond. Contractors need weeks in advance. These are mapped out. They're organized. They don't happen overnight. So I think it's yet to be determined what actually happens in February, March, when we start to see that new cycle of what will be swept and won't be swept. We know that there was a Ballard camp that made all the news where she put a pause on that because she wanted to learn more and kind of use that as a incubation tank for her. It's still sitting there. But there are sweeps that are happening. I have seen tents return back to City Hall Park at an alarming rate. The open air use on Blanchard is at an all-time high.
Mm-hmm.
There are tents in Denny Park, which we, of course, immediately, intervened. That's my park. So I take care of my own backyard as much as I can. And then there's tents all around Green Lake and Woodland Park. Again, people are calling me every single day, tents in Madrona, tents up at Northgate. People are coming back because they hear that we're not prosecuting for consumption, and there's probably going to be more of a hands-off approach under this new mayor. And then there's the police officers, and then there was the holidays, and there was this do nothing for a little while. So it's been a mixed bag. And of course, people who are in the throes of their addiction having to boost and flip stamp cards and siphon gas and porch prowl and steal bikes to support their habit are cooking with gas right now pretty hard.
Well, it's remarkable about the speed in which things return to what they were. I always reference it's almost like a diet where you can work months and months and months and you end up losing 6 pounds. You go to Vegas for the weekend and you gain 12. It's a lot of work to get some positive results, and then it can be undone overnight seemingly. And that's what appears, at least right now, to be happening in Seattle with homelessness.
This is what I want everybody to hear and to start using this language. Just stop saying camps, stop saying homeless, start saying narcotic crisis, narcotic use, drug scenes. I know that's not a familiar term for people here in Seattle or in the U.S., but it is a European term, open air drug scenes. The amount of foil that we picked up in 90 minutes should alarm you. My video's going viral on X. It's on Nextdoor. It's on TikTok, and people's minds are blown. It's crusade journalism. I forget that people, I haven't reached every ear or eyeball yet, Jason, in this 5 years. I feel like, am I a broken record? Are people sick of listening to me yet? Or you? But then you realize there's this other audience of people that we just have to continue to show them we have a drug crisis and our policymakers need to make moves. I'm proud to say that people from both sides of the aisle call me to talk about the little boy in the tent that was around their fentanyl addicted sex working mother. There's calls for me to come down and talk about, what's working, who's doing what am I seeing? So we're proud of that work, but how do we reach the voters? And I realized with this Saturday work and showing the amount of fentanyl that we pick up, the foil, including loaded foils. We see loaded foils. We found another dead body last Monday at Elliott Bay in a shack off of Elliott Bay Marina. One of my senior volunteers called me and was like, and it's just grim, barbaric, demonic. How do we change the minds of the voters? And I'm doing that through these storytelling videos.
And
This is not a one-off. This is daily.
Well, and you're not just sticking with Seattle. We're talking with, by the way, We Heart Seattle founder Andrea Suarez, but you just spent some time in Wenatchee.
I went out to Wenatchee. Actually, it was about a year and a half ago. I've had Yakima call. I mean, there people are looking for, different counties are calling county commissions, mayor's offices. I had a chance to meet with the entire leadership team in Wenatchee, this prosecuting attorney, the mayor, the sergeants, the chiefs, and we walked all around and, they're installing a tiny house village. They were worried that they became an inflow city for all of Chelan County, which means instead of being a little town of 35,000, it was more like serving 100,000 people. How do you manage inflow? I was most interested in their RV lots. and they looked like they were, doing a good job. It was new at the time. I've since gotten an update this morning, and they're down to one lot. So obviously something didn't quite work. And it's a mixed bag of what's working and what's not. Maybe you help a couple people, but by and large, you still have the service-resistant population of people in RVs or loitering or who have housing but still hang out on our streets and sidewalks that don't want to go behind a fenced area. The dilapidated RVs catch on fire. They catch other RVs on fire. So my question to Sergeant Hahn, I talked to this morning, I was like, is it better that they catch on fire on a sidewalk, though? I mean, what do we do? And that's just this conundrum of, I believe there is a population of people in Seattle, like your seniors, some family. I see a lot of families in RVs. We could probably dig up 35 to 40 people that fit that demographic that also have the least dilapidated RVs that might go in this suggested lot in West Seattle. The problem is that doesn't solve the problem of the most nuisance people who are creating all the harm in the community. So you're not actually solving the problem. You're sort of performatively making everybody sort of feel good about the situation.
Yeah, and I don't know how many people truly feel good about the situation. I think that maybe they convince themselves that this is the right move, even though it just traditionally has never worked. And there's no reason to believe doing things exactly the same way as previous failures have gone, that all of a sudden things are going to be different. It's just, there's no reason to believe that.
And, going out to Wenatchee, I just think these leaders needed to hear again that this is a drug crisis. We're not going to solve this by housing and sheltering and building our way out of this and wrapping RVs around a place where nobody can see them, because the dealers still loiter, the RVs still blow up, people still overdose. And there's just that condemnation and virtue signaling till the activists are a element there too. It's like, they're going to go after the judges. They're going after the mayor. They're going after the cops to do nothing, hands off, leave these people alone in this, term that's being thrown around all the time now, suicidal empathy. It's just to what end? Or like I told Sergeant Hahn, I would be perfectly happy if the activists would just own what they're up to. Just say it out loud. We know these are hospice cares, end-of-life care. They're eventually going to die. At least they're dying inside on your taxpayer dollar. We've given up that these people could ever get well, which is a slap in the face to the millions of people in recovery worldwide who had a cop that arrested them, that had their rock bottom, of which Seattle has taken away for these poor souls. They have no rock bottom. So even I'm like, I have cognitive dissonance. Like, I really want them to work, and I think they will work for a certain population. I would love We Heart Seattle to be an operator or part of the outreach coordination team that says, I will put you in this lot, RV dweller, sir, ma'am, family, but within 30 days, you have a plan to exit from here.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And
have you met yet with this current mayor at all?
No, I've tried to shake her hand at a couple events and invite her out, and I've been unsuccessful to date. I have just recently reheard an email from her homelessness and transition team that I've been trying to, I got an underling at best at this point. So I'm trying to get on the books with somebody there.
Hey, baby steps.
I just wanted to, baby steps. It's like, I know she knows who we are and what we're doing. I am anti-housing first for the population causing all the problems in our community. And that is just the antithesis of like what everybody's quadrupling down on, and not to mention suing our federal government over. So I'm over here like, do you want diversity of thought? Do you want to hear from people who are thriving? Do you want to hear from people who are not thriving inside Plymouth housing, who are trapped in addiction for years? I have another X video out there of Christopher and his mom. He's like, I have free housing for the rest of my life, and I will be a drug addict here for the rest of my life. And he says, Andrea, all I do all day long is boost. I steal all day long, and Plymouth housing gives me free housing, and there's no requirement ever. And I've lost my teeth. I've lost my weight. I've lost my daughter. I don't have to work. And so he's my pet project right now, and I'm going to get him out of there. And he's out with We Heart Seattle every day, but it doesn't work. And so they just keep me and everybody else that's in recovery and doing really well. I always bring up the Ginny Burtons of the world, who ran the streets for years and is an advocate for sober-based, abstinence-based recovery programs. They won't talk to her. or all the other people, Tom Wolfs of the world, and these people who were held accountable and their life was saved through law enforcement and intervention and court-ordered mandated treatment. And that's just a crying shame that people are going away from that over and over again here in the city of Seattle. And I would like the answer. What are we doing with this population smoking drugs in our parks?
Well, nothing. I think that's the problem, is we're not really doing anything with it. We only have about 2 minutes left, but if you could, you've raised some concerns about the most recent point in time count, which is how we determine generally the population of homeless people who are living in and out of shelters.
Yeah, they've gone to a respondent-driven census model created by the University of Washington. Red flag, number one. Number two, you expect homeless people who are living in a doorstep to turn themselves into a intake center and wave their hand and say, hey, I'm homeless. I get my $25 gift card, and then they get this seed. If they go out and give it to another person on the block, or what they call peer networks, you'd get a better idea of who's hiding out in the parks or under bridges or in an RV sort of community. And I just have seen it firsthand where they're probably not getting all the way back to their community to give a seed. If their seed comes back to an intake center, they get $5 more added to their debit card. This is not the people who should be counting themselves as homeless. These are chronically homeless, drug addicted, mentally ill people who are expected to turn themselves in over 2 weeks, and they're incentivized by a gift card. There's nothing to stop that can't also be taken advantage of. We should go back to the one day, one night where you count actual bodies, you lay your eyeballs on people, and you turn that number in. The other thing that I think people don't understand is people in RVs, in shelters, in tiny houses, and in hotel rooms are still counted as homeless. So you wonder why you go from 8,000 to 16,000 homeless people in King County over the years. It's because we've built more places for homeless people to lay their head down on, and yet we're not counting them as under a roof. And so we create an influ crisis. We create more places for people to sleep and still count them as homeless and wonder why it doesn't go down. So it's just fraught with confusion and inaccuracies that can be easily dialed one way or the other to fit the narrative of what you're going after. Do you want to be up? Do you want to be down? Do you want to be neutral? And how do you want to look, nationwide? So it's a very interesting model, to say the least. Yeah. If you're counting people like that are working out at the gym and you say, hey, go back to your gym and hand them this seed method, respondent driven, to see how many times you go to the gym and what protein shake you're eating, that's how that census is supposed to work. Not for fentanyl addicts. They're not going back to their quote gym and turning their buddy in to see where they slept last night. But it's just not happening.
Well, they might go back to their drug den, but they're just going to be passed out from the fentanyl.
Yeah,
that's the unfortunate reality.
Grim.
Oh, I know. We've been talking with We Heart Seattle founder Andrea Suarez. The website weheartseattle.org. Go there now to find out how you can spend some of your volunteer hours doing some good, helping people on the streets. And if that's not what you're interested in doing, you can also donate, because it's very expensive doing this on her own. weheartseattle.org. Andrea, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.
You as well. You're listening to The Jason Rantz Show.
Be a part of all the excitement at Beasley Coliseum this year. Come cheer on the Washington State Cougars men's and women's basketball teams as they host the likes of Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and Oregon State in conference play this season. Don't miss out on all the action. Grab your tickets to upcoming WSU basketball games today at WSUCougars.com/tix. Again, that's WSUCougars.com/TIX. See you at Beasley Coliseum. Go Cougs!
Trying to make sense of the markets? Looking to diversify out of all the craziness? Thinking about tangible assets like precious metals? Listen to The Gold Show with Kenny Michaels right here at Seattle Red, 9 a.m. Sunday mornings. Stay up to date on retirement trends, how the IRA rollover process works, and why investors are turning to physical gold. Kenny is a national talk show host with decades of experience in the markets. Tune in for Kenny's insights and The Gold Show this Sunday morning at 9 a.m.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55, but unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I had pain, I had numbness in my feet. That pain and that numbness just got worse and worse and worse as time went on.
This is Greg describing life with neuropathy.
I went to 5 podiatrists, tried different treatments, tried different orthotics, tried different shoes, had cortisone shots in the tops and the bottoms of my feet. Saw a neurologist. All my medical doctors said, can't help you. Live with the pain. You're not going to be able to sleep. This is your life. And then I just gave up until I found Sound Pain Solutions.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. Our neuropathy treatments can rehabilitate damaged nerves. We use FDA-cleared, non-surgical, drug, and pain-free procedures that help neuropathy sufferers like Greg find relief.
I feel better. I mean, just feeling better is huge.
If you experience numbness, shooting or burning pains, or loss of balance, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025, or click soundpainsolutions.com.
The Jason Rantz Show.
Bring in Jason Rantz, Seattle Red 770 AM host, and also SeattleRed.com. Jason, great to have you with us.
Jason, Seattle is just continually ground zero.
Yeah, and this is really the Pacific Northwest is ground zero for all this nonsense.
USA Today is mocking the far left.
The quick hit.
So there's nothing worse than a journalist. Oh my God. And I say this as someone who obviously works in journalism. This is what I do for a living. And I can say without any shadow of a doubt that the most annoying people out there are journalists. Now, not every journalist is annoying. There are some great journalists on both sides of the aisle or down the middle where you can't really tell where it is they stand politically. In fact, when you don't know where a reporter stands, that's usually a sign that they're a good reporter. Not always, but usually. But the self-righteous attitude of every single journalist seemingly on the left and some on the right who are desperate to become martyrs is just too much sometimes for me to be able to handle. Don Lemon is the newest cause du jour. And by the way, I will say, I think the Trump administration turned him into a quote-unquote martyr. He's not an actual martyr, and I said this on Friday, where I do think he broke the law, and I don't think people should be above the law, to borrow a phrase that the left used to put out there. No one is above the law. But also true is that we've turned him into a martyr that he's going to be able to take advantage of and now use for his own personal gain, and that kills me. But of course, other journalists are now going to look at him and fantasize about being Don Lemon. There are a ton of left-wing journalists out there who are begging, they are praying, they are fantasizing. They went to sleep last night dreaming of a moment in which the Trump administration mildly inconveniences them and then turns them into the latest cause for the political and cultural left to celebrate. Please arrest me, Donald Trump. Arrest me. And so on The View today, you had Whoopi Goldberg and her crew say this.
This is what I said to you before. You see what's happening. You know what's happening.
What's happening?
If it's happening like this for someone who is out and clearly doing his job, what do you think will happen to us?
Right.
So it's important to recognize what we are voting for now. It's not a conversation. It's not a thing. Now it's like, okay, we all got to stick together with all of this because it's affecting all of us from A to Z. We'll be right back.
So, wild hypocrite, of course, because she would care less if there were any kind of Republican or conservative media outlets being attacked. In fact, they joined in on the attack of Nick Shirley, for example, who was just doing his job, but then immediately was villainized. But, in bad faith, they can argue, well, that doesn't mean we wanted him to be arrested. Okay, fine. This whole idea of if it could happen to Don Lemon, it could happen to us. My response to that is actually quite simple. Why hasn't it happened to you, Whoopi? The View, culturally, from a ratings perspective, way more influential and important than Don Lemon, who's become just some dork with a cell phone, right? The View is indisputably more influential than Don Lemon. So why did they not go after Whoopi and Joy Behar and TV's Dumbest Lawyer Sunny Hostin and Anna Navarro and all that, Sarah Hines? Why didn't they go after them? Why did they just go after Don Lemon? Why is it that they haven't gone after Anderson Cooper or George Stephanopoulos? I mean, they're going on those shows and talking directly when they're invited to the left, and they do it knowing that they're going to get a bad faith interview or interviewer. They know they're going to get dismissed. They know they're going to get attacked, but they do it anyway because they think it's important to get the information out there. And for a lot of these people who are watching these shows, they're not getting any of this served to them. And so the only way that they can reach those people is to go on these shows. Okay. Why is it that those folks, but Don Lemon, those folks get a pass, but Don Lemon gets arrested? Is it possible, just possible, that a law was broken? They don't want to acknowledge that. They're just simply saying, oh, no, he was just there documenting. They're not even giving you the position of this administration. And some of them just flat out lied about what was in the grand jury documentation that was, in fact, released. And, I heard some of these folks, including on The View, make the claim that, that they fraudulently presented their grand jury document. Listen to this.
So I just want to understand, because he was at that protest like a week ago, right? In the church. And then a week later, they got a grand jury to indict him. 2 counts.
But this is after they had gone to 3 different courts trying to get judges to sign off. Right. And the judges in all 3 previous cases said to the DOJ, get the hell out of my courtroom, you clowns. There is no case here.
That's actually not what the judges said.
So they basically did it themselves. They did it. They released the news at the exact same time that they released the Epstein documents.
Epstein files.
So make no mistake.
Another big scandal. The Epstein files, which again shows no wrongdoing on behalf of Trump, but I guess the Epstein files.
Mistake about it. This was about gaslighting. This was about going against Don Lemon and other journalists. By the way, all who happen to be Black. Happy Black History Month. And I think it's to send a chilling message to anybody who is covering facts
or just breaking the law. I mean, it is, again, this is just bad faith. Anna Navarro is known for, The View is known for that, frankly. But again, they're only going after Black journalists. Well, maybe they'll go after you then next, Anna. Who wants them to target her? Like everybody else on The View, they are begging. They're like, hey, this will be great for our ratings. 1-800-465-8770 for your texts. You're listening to The Jason Rantz Show.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you. Gradual breakers. You keep your eyes on the road, so you've seen it all. As long as it all happened directly in front of you, like a Swedish masseuse, your foot knows exactly the right amount of pressure to apply to the brake. That's why your passengers feel totally relaxed with you behind the wheel and occasionally super sleepy. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
Taxes was waiting on the refund you needed yesterday.
All right, your car repair is going to run about $3,000.
Ugh. Now Taxes is getting back on the road with TurboTax and Credit Karma, where you can get your refund up to 5 days faster and get personalized guidance to take every dollar further. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Deposit a federal refund into Credit Karma Money account and early submission of refund data by IRS required. Terms apply. Banking services provided by MVB Bank, Inc. Member FDIC. Credit Karma is not a bank.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
How about a simple New Year's resolution, one that even I was able to achieve? Reverse the clock on hair loss with Advanced Hair's simple one-day FUE treatment. You'll feel more confident and more youthful when you witness your own natural hair growing into those places that have been balding or thinning for years. I'm surprised and relieved every time I look in the mirror. You need to know what that feels like. From Advanced Hair's breakthrough technology to their highly experienced team, there is no one I would trust more than Advanced Hair Restoration. I experienced their exceptional standard of care firsthand. Your comfort and your results are the top priority of the entire Advanced Hair team. Celebrate this new year with a fuller head of hair and get a free consultation, $250 off, and 250 free hair grafts. Call 425-449-8185. That's 425-449-8185. Discover what meeting your resolutions could look like with the before and after pictures at advancedhair.com.
File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction or your money back. File today the easy way in the Credit Karma app.
We are Seattle Red. Seattle Red on 770 KTTH Seattle, 97.3 KIRO-FM, HD3 Tacoma, Seattle, 94.5 K233 DT Eastway, 33 BU Seattle.
Plan to end the shutdown. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The House set to vote tomorrow on a plan that would keep the government running through September and a short-term bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security for 2 weeks after the Senate passed it last week.
House Democrats are not aligned with what Senate Democrats agreed to on Friday, and some Democrats will not vote yes until they see changes at ICE. Numbers matter. The House swears in Texas Democrat Christian Menifee. He won a special election over the weekend. That means Republicans can only lose one vote and still pass the bill. House Democrats believe it's the Republicans' responsibility to pass a procedural vote since they hold the majority. But Jeffries says some Democrats could vote yes on the actual bill because of projects important to them.
Fox's Chad Pergram on Capitol Hill. This is Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has announced all immigration agents in Minnesota will wear body cameras, and that program will be expanded as funding allows. Former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton have agreed to testify in the House Epstein investigation, but House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer says an agreement has not been finalized. Meanwhile, the Justice Department has removed thousands of videos and images from its website related to the Epstein probe.
A statement from the DOJ says officials worked all hours through the weekend from the point the first victim-related concerns were raised to take down documents and media that may have inadvertently included victim-identifying information. The New York Times reports dozens of nude images were published. A law passed by Congress last year requires the full release of Epstein files, but with both sexually explicit images and information that could identify victims redacted.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major averages kicking off the new trading month higher as strong manufacturing data lifts investors' sentiment. U.S. factory activity expanded for the first time in a year. Tech was the best performing sector, with chips leading the charge. And the January jobs report will not be released as scheduled on Friday due to the partial government shutdown. The Dow up 515 points, the Nasdaq higher by 130, S&P 500 up 37. And Elon Musk's SpaceX will be merging with XAI high ahead of a mega IPO, according to Bloomberg. And shares of Palantir Technologies are jumping after hours after the data analytics software company reported another quarter of record revenue and surpassed Wall Street's fourth quarter earnings estimates and issued upbeat guidance. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55. But unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See.
Coach! The yellow light! I'm walking here!
Good afternoon and welcome to the Jason Rantz Show. We are here on Seattle Red 770 AM, streaming on the Seattle Red app. We've got a lot to get to. Donald Trump has a message for Seattle and Portland and other blue cities. We're not going to help with your left-wing riots. But first, not the best timing for an announcement that happened today in Seattle. That's what's trending.
What's trending? Crime.
So Sean Barnes came out in opportune time. And I understand that this date to go over crime statistics had been planned. But I feel like they could have just pushed it. Because when you come out to declare that crime in Seattle is down after we just had 3 murders in 2 days, plus a $50,000 haul of stolen Seattle Seahawks merchandise, it just sends a mixed message, is all I'm saying. But I guess you deal with the hand that you're dealt if you're Sean Barnes. He came out today to say that crime is down. Crime is down. And he went over different categories of crime. And to be clear, there are some categories that are undisputably better than where they were last year. For example, we saw a 36% reduction in homicides. Awesome. Doesn't quite hit when you just have 2 teenagers murdered right next to a school on Friday, and then yet another murder at that underground triangle parking lot in Pioneer Square right by CenturyLink and Lumenfield. The one which there's been many shootings prior. But undoubtedly, homicides are in fact down. Also, burglaries, 18%. They say thefts from vehicles dropped 7%. This is where we get into the, I know that's what the data says, but it's not true part of the conversation. The reality is a lot of the crimes that are the nonviolent crimes that they say are down are not down. If anything, they're up, which is why most people do not actually believe the data, including cops that I talk to on a regular basis. When they tell you that break-ins to a home or to a business, shoplifting, all these things are down. When they just say crime is down, as you're seeing open-air drug use, just know they mean reported crime is down. They're not getting as many 911 calls. I believe them when it comes to homicides because it's not like you can hide a homicide. And when it comes to big ticket items being stolen, like cars, you can't really hide that because if your car is stolen, you're reporting that. But if someone breaks into your car and steals the stuff in your glove compartment, you're unlikely to report that anymore because you know that reporting it doesn't lead to anything. Police aren't going to show up. Police aren't going to catch the person responsible. You should still report it, no doubt. But I say this as someone who I see crimes all the time that I don't report, specifically open-air drug use and drug dealing. Almost every single time I walk to get my dog. I got a dog a couple years ago. His name is D'Artagnan.
Really? How's this never come up?
And I sometimes keep too private a life when it comes to things like that. But when I pick him up from daycare, when I drop him off at daycare, when I'm even thinking about daycare, I see it all the time, almost each time. Tonight, when I go pick him up after the show, I will see open-air drug use and possibly drug dealing. In the morning, this morning when I drive home, I saw it. I'm not calling 911. Now, if I told that to Sean Barnes, the chief, he would say, you should call. And I agree, I should. And I'm not. I'm not going to waste my time on hold or feel like an idiot when I'm calling 911 to report open-air drug use because you're not enforcing that law. And I'm not going to call the non-emergency number. You want to know why? Because they don't pick up. So I'm not going to do that. So just keep all of this in mind. But again, the optics, I think, of holding this press release or press conference after 3 homicides over 2 days is ridiculous. There was a vigil in Rainier Beach over the weekend. 100 people or so gathered to honor the lives of 2 teens who were shot and killed at a bus stop right by their high school. And this is, in this case, Rainier Beach High School, but this is one of many high schools, well, all high schools in Seattle that doesn't allow police officers on campus or school resource officers on campus. And they're still not going to allow for school resource officers, just so we're clear. Now, they say, Sean Barnes said earlier today, look, we're working with SPS, Seattle Public Schools, to help students and families return to the classroom and feel safe.
We've been working closely with Seattle Public Schools to support students, educators, and families as they return to class under what I know firsthand to be an incredibly difficult circumstances.
Well, and this is not Sean Barnes' fault, and all of this predated him to begin with anyway, but he should probably do a better job of putting public pressure to get cops back on campus. Because that's one way to tackle this issue. I know there's some left-wing students who don't want it, but who cares what they want? There are 2 teenagers who are dead now. And while I can't prove that had we had cops on campus, this would not have occurred, I do think that you can safely assume that the culture around crimes that are happening on campuses probably diminishes just a little bit, maybe gets a little bit better. One of the mothers of the victims spoke.
It's my only child I got in school.
Now, she's going through the unthinkable for parents. And we hear the same refrain each and every time, right? Something we're calling for something to be done. Well, what would you like to be done? Because this is an issue that's multifaceted. Number one, you don't have police nearby. You don't support cops, number 2. Number 3, you continuously push to go easy on criminal juveniles. And so when you scream out into the ether, something must be done, I agree. But perhaps you should be looking at yourself in the mirror. Not this mother, of course. But the activists who are out there, the students who are at this vigil. Something must be done. Well, I think something is being done. The policies you help put in place help take the lives of these 2 kids. Now, Victoria Beach is a community advocate. She used to be with the city of Seattle or SPD on one of their committees, and she's been on the show before. She's been consistent on this. School resource officers have to come back on campus. She spoke with Coleman.
We need police back in the schools. Who knows? Maybe somebody knew that there was a beef going on and they could tell the officer or whoever.
Precisely. And again, I'm going to presume most people are less likely to commit a crime when they know a cop is really close by. Not completely unlikely. It's not impossible, but less likely. At the same time, we had 1 person shot and killed, 3 injured in a shooting in Pioneer Square at the Sinking Ship parking garage. Do people know what I'm talking about when I say that, or do you have to be from Seattle? It looks like a half underground parking structure. What street is that? It's right off of. It's right by Occidental Park.
I think it's at Yesler and James.
Sure, that James and Yesler. My remote Fox News studio years ago used to be right across the street from that parking lot, and every time I would get booked to go on like Fox and Friends early in the morning, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get shot if I show up at this point. And I'm telling you, at least a quarter of the time when I showed up for those appearances, there were cop cars there because there had just been a crime, a shooting, a mugging, something right at that parking lot. But it's good to know we keep it out there. Here's a witness speaking with Cairo 7 TV. He lives nearby, poor man.
I heard 4 loud bangs. Guns don't normally sound that loud, but it was a high caliber gun that I heard.
Well, guns do oftentimes sound very loud. What are you talking about? Usually they're like, pa-choo, pa-choo. It's like a whisper. There are not that many on silencers in downtown Seattle. Maybe some. What is he talking about? How high caliber could it have possibly been?
Tell he's from Western Washington.
Oh, my gosh. Happened around 1:30 a.m. yesterday. Officers responded to find one person fatally shot in the head, another with life-threatening injuries, a woman who was grazed by a bullet. She said, I didn't even know it was shot because I could barely hear the gunfire. It just sounded like, phew, phew, that's it. Another woman later showed up at Harborview Medical Center who was also grazed by gunfire. No suspects were arrested in this case. No suspects were arrested in the shooting of the teens. But tell us, Sean Barnes, about how you're clamping down on gun violence.
Their losses underscore the truth that we cannot ignore. Preventing gun violence requires all of us, everyone in this room, to work together.
Oh, stop that nonsense. It's a talking point, bullet point, a bumper sticker talking point that doesn't really mean anything. Sorry, not to be mean. He obviously means well. Oh, it takes a village. Well, it could also just take some lawmakers to change some laws. It could also just take a school board to say cops can come back on campus. So you don't really need all of us. Now, I'd love everyone to be on the same page, sure, but you don't need it. You can start saying we're going to prosecute juvenile criminals. I know, very controversial. Can't believe it came out of my mouth. And of course, not all crime is violent. Mass thieves made off with more than $50,000 in Seahawks merchandise during an early morning heist at Pro Image Sports right near Lumen Field. Happened about 4 a.m. The popular spot, according to Como, has a massive wall of hats and a huge selection of jerseys, whether it's Mariners or Seahawks seasons. Obviously, right now, a lot of interest in the Seahawks, although Mariners starts up pretty soon. Wasn't Fan Fest over the weekend?
It was.
Yeah, weren't you there?
I did not go, no.
And you call yourself a fan.
I know.
Here's the co-owner, Clayton, speaking with Como TV, said, this is obviously going to hurt us.
I knew the section that they went right over there. And
hey, Clayton, could you turn off the alarm while we're doing this interview? Now, we can wait a few minutes. We don't have to.
I think that was Como playing the sound effects in the background.
I know.
Got in and out in a hurry. Stole roughly $30,000 to $50,000 worth of jerseys. Or they were the royal blue ones, some Hasselback and Alexander, a lot of the throwback players, large in. Definitely affects you, so it was a little emotional this morning. And
I imagine it was. Because it's not just the stolen merchandise, but $2,300 in property damage because of the break-in. But you know what they call me? Glass half full Rantz. And they do. Everyone does, because I always find a positive in bad stories.
Oh, okay.
Looking for cheaper gear that you can buy on the streets? Just go to the nearest guy who looks a little bit shady, who's dealing out of his trunk.
At least someone's trying to address the affordability crisis.
Yeah, look, you know what? Things are too expensive, and if you're looking for one of these jerseys at 97% off, just go to that dude in the stolen Ford over there. He's dealing out of the back seat of his car. Clayton said people should be wary of purchasing black market sports gear because it's the same exact quality at cheaper prices as his store.
You can see here where they cut it, definitely had a very high-powered bolt cutter, and the cops were even saying how crisp it is. Definitely was not something that you just go buy at a Home Depot. That's the thing I'd really like to make people aware of when you're buying an item off of a street vendor or online. Sometimes it's not licensed. Sometimes, there's people out there making a living off of stealing stolen merchandise.
Okay. I think most people know that. He's right, of course, to call it out, but I think most people know that, and you just pretend otherwise. It's like buying that $1 bottle of water on the way into the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
You know you're buying something from someone who shouldn't be there and isn't there legally.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the opposite, right? It's I'm buying this Seahawks hat or a Mariners jersey or whatever it is at one of these random stalls where there's no signage. The guy is clearly selling you something that was stolen. But you say to yourself, well, it's only $15.
You buy something off Temu and you're like, well, it might have been made by an 8-year-old in China in a sweatshop, but I'm just going to block that out of my mind.
I'm getting such a great deal. Sure, I can go to Pro Image Shop and spend $97 plus tax on a jersey, or I can get this one for $9. They're offering just such a better deal. And you know why? It's because they don't have the high cost of overhead. They're not worried about, a building, insurance, labor,
shipping,
the price of actually acquiring the goods. They don't worry about that.
They just cut out the middleman.
And everyone that's tied to the legal sale of said items. Now he says, look, I'd love to offer a huge reward for anyone who has info that leads to the arrest and prosecution, but I can't. I can, however, give you some of the stuff that we hopefully get back from the thieves.
Still got a lot of product to sell and a lot of great fans, so we're going to try to stay positive about it. We're a smaller business, so we probably can't do a huge reward, but definitely if anybody can help us out, we'd love to hook them up with some Hawks gear.
Yeah. What if it turns out, just go with me for a moment, it's a Patriots fan who finds the info that they need and they capture the guy? Do you give do you get him Patriots gear? You'd have to special order that, right? I doubt you can just go to the pro shop here and get it.
They might have something lying around, but I don't know. Yeah, that's why would a Patriots fan return it? Though I feel like he would.
Well, because you know what? Not everyone on the opposing side are evil. They're usually evil, but not all.
They're monsters. Okay.
No, there's like 1% that aren't degenerate monsters. Why would you say that about? Why would you paint such a broad brush? What a jerk. Would you like them saying that about us? It's just as true.
Actually, yeah, it is.
It's probably way worse. Push the button.
What's trending in Trumplandia?
Donald Trump is drawing a pretty hard line for blue cities and counties and states, frankly, that tolerate rioting coming from the radical left, while then demanding or maybe even expecting some kind of federal assistance. He's like, yeah, no, hard pass. And this comes right after a riot in Eugene, Oregon, that the president in a Truth Social post called out by name, saying that local governments should not expect federal help unless they both explicitly ask for it while also using the magic word. Do you know what the magic word is?
Please.
Please. He should have said, they better say pretty please.
With a cherry on top.
With a cherry on top. He said, I've instructed Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem that under no circumstances are we going to participate in various poorly run Democratic cities with regard to their protests and or riots unless and until they ask us for help. We will, however, guard, and very powerfully so, and any and all federal buildings that are being attacked by these highly paid lunatics, agitators, and insurrectionists. Please be aware that I have instructed ICE and or Border Patrol to be very forceful in this protection of federal government property. There will be no spitting in the faces of our officers. There will be no punching or kicking the headlights off of our cars. And then he said, last night in Eugene, Oregon, these criminals broke into a federal building and did great damage, also scaring and harassing the hardworking employees. Local police did nothing in order to stop it. We will not let that happen anymore. For cities that want federal help, Trump said, simply say please. He spoke on Air Force One to reporters.
I mean, honestly, the crime-ridden cities are all Democrat-run cities. And if they want help, they have to ask for it. Because if we go in, all they do is complain. But if they want help, they can ask for it, and they're going to need help. Los Angeles, as an example, we went in, we solved it.
I mean, you don't even have to go, just look at D.C. You don't even have to go into like rioting areas. Just go into high crime areas. Like, look what we did.
We were just talking about not painting in a broad brush, though. He did. He just said all of them are Democrat. He doesn't know that.
But he's right.
Oh, okay.
Can you name a Republican? I'm sure there are some that are hell-ridden, or what did he say? Violence-ridden hellholes or something? Crime-ridden hellholes? There are some in the South, no doubt. But amongst the biggest city ones, they're almost all Democratic run. And the only time, I mean, remember the time where we used to say New York City was safe? Who was the mayor at that point? It was Rudy Giuliani.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, that's the truth. The last time we said anything positive about New York as far as crime, and I suppose you can say that now about D.C., but you don't give Muriel Bowser any credit for that. That's all Trump. It's 100% Trump. Let's find out what else is trending.
What's trending? Who cares?
So are we still doing this stupid thing? Punxsutawney Phil emerged from his tree stump earlier this morning. He looked around to make sure Bill de Blasio was nowhere to be seen. And upon assurances that he wasn't around, he said, okay, you may lift me, and I will whisper into your ear, and then you will completely ignore everything I just said, because it's usually, why do you make me do this every year? I have no interest in weather forecasting. I don't know what it is you're asking of me to do here. I don't know why you think I know anything about winter. I'm just as cold as you are, idiots. But then the adults look at, or the humans, I should say, look at the forecast, and then they decide to speak on his behalf, and they read from some scroll that was printed the morning of.
It's my great honor to answer your annual call.
He's not feeling honored. You've killed his friends and family over generations with this stupid stunt.
So I rise again this morning to greet you all. But today I wake thinking of numbers and time.
Oh my God.
America
How long is
turns
this?
250 and I'm at least 139.
That's not, first of all, that wasn't funny, lady who did the in the background. That was not funny. Number two, he has no concept, Phil, of time in human years.
And we know it's not 139 years old because he killed the other Phil, Bill de Blasio.
Well, that one was 210. Then they start, oh no, yeah.
Let's celebrate all, young, old, babies, or millennial.
I'll just get to
and
it.
kick off America's...
That was the local Fox anchors in the background.
Did he know his microphone was on?
Oh yeah, they were narrating like the whole thing.
Oh,
it was pretty
I love
funny
that.
actually.
That's great.
My quincentennial. We look to the future and not just the past. So I suppose this party could use a forecast.
Yes, please.
It is my...
You know, if this was a giraffe, they would get right to it. If this was a raccoon, right to it. A bear would maul everyone and leave, which is actually what I would prefer.
Job this February 2.
Oh my God.
To look to the skies and report back to you that there is a shadow here on my ground. No! 6 more weeks of winter abound.
No.
That's the Fox 29 Philadelphia people. Okay, she's laying on a little bit thick there, but I can't appreciate what it is she's doing. Meanwhile, poor Puxatawny Phil's like, that's not what I said at all. Why would I say that? I know people are going to be upset if I were to say that. I told you winter's done. It ended last year. Winter is not coming. Stop it. Why do the only reason this exists now and gets covered, and we're not going to do it on this show, but listen to any show this morning or this afternoon after you finish this show. If anyone plays a clip of Bill Murray from Groundhog Day, just know that the people who are responsible for that are the laziest of lazy in radio, and they're why radio is dying. They're the reason.
I feel bad for Phil.
Phil, just,
leave him alone.
Do they even get him a hotel room for the night like they do the turkeys that get pardoned in D.C. each Thanksgiving?
I don't know.
Or do they just rip him out of his house?
I think they just rip him out of his hole.
God, that's just so wrong. Where's PETA? I'm sure they put out something.
I think they raised that issue last year, actually. Because like how they said it's like loud and it's scary. Groundhogs are like shy creatures and it's scary.
No, that wasn't. Was that for this or was that at a game?
I think it was.
Was it? Okay, because I remember that too. I thought for some reason I thought it was at a baseball game. Because weren't they also? It was a bulldog.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Right, so that was an addition. They're actually, by the way, 100% correct on that. This is none of the animals want to do this. Okay, what if a Puxatawny Phil pulled your fat out of your bed as a human and said, "Tell us, is it going to be cold? Because we're cold too." Stupid groundhogs. Is that even a real animal?
Yeah.
Is it, or is this made up like
it's real
velociraptor or whatever? He's made up. It's just you know what it is? It's a raccoon that they just paint in a different color. 1-800-465-8770 for your texts. It's the Jason Rantz Show.
Taxes was waiting on the refund you needed yesterday.
All right, your car repair is going to run about $3,000.
Now Taxes is getting back on the road with TurboTax and Credit Karma, where you can get your refund up to 5 days faster and get personalized guidance to take every dollar further. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Deposit a federal refund into Credit Karma Money account and early submission of refund data by IRS required. Terms apply. Banking services provided by MVB Bank, Inc. Member FDIC. Credit Karma is not a bank.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55. But unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551.
You know the one question that guys hate to have asked of them by their wives, Nick?
I can take a good guess.
I know you know 100 of them. This is the worst one. Do these jeans make my butt look big?
Whoa.
Can't answer that one, right? What I've noticed is whenever you ask me questions like that, I just simply say, I don't know. What do the doctors at Longevity Medical Clinic say?
Well, the doctors at Longevity Medical Clinic would tell me that my butt looks great in those jeans now that my hormones are balanced.
What'd they do? Did they give you something to bring your weight down?
No, just a result of having my hormones balanced caused me to lose weight. Who would have known? I had no idea that would be a result of it.
So that's good. So the answer is you look great. You're beautiful.
I feel great. I look great.
Yeah.
And I know it.
I've also noticed that your testosterone makes you a little feistier than you normally are as my beautiful Greek wife.
I might be small, but I have a loud bark.
Yes, you do. Do what Nick and I have done. Take a free health analysis at longevitymedicalclinic.com.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Welcome back to the Jason Rantz Show, broadcasting from the Fox News studios out of New York. I'm in town, somewhat ironically, I suppose, for CNN. And an issue that we'll be debating tonight at 7 p.m. our time is today's SCOTUS hearing, SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States. And let's, from the get-go here, be clear about what's going on. This is a debate not about hate, not about bigotry, as folks on the left who scream the loudest want to define this as. This has never been about hate or about fear. And it's frankly never been about denying anyone dignity or erasing trans people. This is just about fairness. And frankly, it's about fairness for girls. Those groups of people that we used to be able to define honestly until the left decided to lean into the wokeness. Earlier today, the Supreme Court was asked to weigh the legal arguments about whether or not states can ban biological males or trans girls from competing in girls' sports. And the fact that this even needs to be litigated tells you how far off the rails this entire conversation has gone. We have the existence of girls' sports for a reason. It was never meant to be a political statement or a social experiment. They exist because biological differences between boys and girls or men and women, it's real, it's measurable, and it's decisive, especially when we're talking about competitive athletics where you're talking about people at their peak performance. Every once in a while, you'll get one of those really, truly bad and disingenuous arguments. Like if I'm out there saying, yeah, we should be banning this from occurring, it's not fair. An athlete will say, or someone on the other side will say, well, a female athlete can beat you at anything. Like, yeah, you can. I'm not an athlete. Of course they can beat me. We're not talking about me competing against a top female athlete. Although I suppose, depending on what it is we're talking about, I might be stronger. Not Jackson, not you though. You're weak upper body. You have the upper body strength of a vegan.
Which is so weird because I'm not a vegan.
I know it is. It's very, but you got to up your protein. But none of this is really about ideology as much as it is about biology or physiology. We know that as a matter of fact, and again, you don't need to be a scientist, as Jamie Peterson, the state senator from Washington, wants us to pretend. You don't have to be a scientist to understand this. Males have inherent advantages because of muscle mass, bone density, lung capacity, strength, and that's not erased because someone changes the way they identify or because of some hormone treatments that they're on. You can argue about policy. I think that that's fair, but you can't argue with the biology without looking like you're just flat out lying or you're just, stupid. And yet for years, that's exactly what the activists and the lawmakers have demanded everyone do. And it's always interesting when you hear the justices on the left try to talk through all of these issues. It seems clear that they're just ignorant on the issues. And it was speaking of ignorant on the issues, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, who didn't quite understand why a state would have to have tailored laws around things like trans issues.
I'm still struggling to understand why.
And by the way, she says this every single time. It's, how some people just say a lot, like this is, or like. That's Ketanji Brown Jackson's like or She says, I'm struggling to understand. I don't understand.
To understand why the state would have to have perfectly tailored laws. I would think the state would just have to make exceptions where people can demonstrate that the justification that makes the state's conduct constitutional doesn't apply to them.
Right. So making exceptions is tailoring your law. That's literally what it means to tailor.
No, but
I love that. And this is the justice. Is this Hashim Mupan?
Yep.
I just love it. It's like, it's literally what you just said. It's literally what it is they're doing.
Yes, from the standpoint of a facial challenge, when we're asking whether this law has to be stricken completely because it isn't, perfectly tailored. What we're doing is a different exercise in the as-applied challenge. We're asking whether, even though this law is overbroad, we're assuming it's overbroad now because you've got in there some people to whom it should not be applied. What do we do about that? What is the remedy that those people can get? And what I hear you saying is they get no remedy unless they can demonstrate that there are enough people that this is sufficiently overbroad that it's no longer something the state can do.
Right.
And I don't understand why that is. Why wouldn't, when we identify people for whom this law operates unconstitutionally, that's the premise, because now I'm in remedy, right? The premise is that you have a person who's successfully made an as-applied challenge. This, to me, unconstitutional. You say, too bad, unless you can show that it's also unconstitutional with respect to a sizable number of other people. And I don't understand why that's the case.
Oh my God, she never really understands. So let's hear the legal response to that, because I find this stuff fascinating.
I don't agree with the premise that the law operates unconstitutionally as to an individual person just because the justification for the law doesn't apply to that person. That's what this court held in both Wynn and Michael M. It recognized that the justification that was put forward for the law might not be true for each and every person the law applied to, but this court said that's fine.
And if we read Caban and Lair to say something different, if I disagree with you, then we just...
Well, Wynn is the most recent of the cases, so even if you read the cases that way, and Wynn is explicit about this. Wynn explicitly says, I believe it's, I'm not going to get the page number right, but Wynn explicitly says that we recognize that there are some men who were present at the birth of their child, who have a DNA test to prove that they were the father, that have been with their kids their entire life. In fact, that was probably true of Wynn's father.
It's just so silly. And of course, the topic of What a Woman Is came up, and Justice Sam Alito was pressing the attorney on the anti-ban side, Kathleen Hartnett, to describe what a woman is.
Do you agree that a school may have separate teams for a category of students classified as boys and a category of students classified as girls?
Yes, Your Honor.
If it does that, then is it not necessary for there to be, for equal protection purposes, if that is challenged under the Equal Protection Clause, an understanding of what it means to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that definition for equal protection purposes? What does it mean to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman?
Sorry, I misunderstood your question. I think that the underlying enactment, whatever it was, the policy, the law, we'd have to have an understanding of how the state or the government was just understanding that term to figure out whether or not someone was excluded. We do not have a definition for the court. And we don't take issue with we're not disputing the definition here. What we're saying is that the way it applies in practice is to exclude birth-sex males categorically from women's teams, and that there's a subset of those birth-sex males where it doesn't make sense to do so according to the state's own interest.
Well, how can a court determine whether there's discrimination on the basis of sex without knowing what sex means for equal protection purposes?
I think here we just know that we basically know that that they've identified, pursuant to their own statute, Lindsay qualifies as a birth-sex male, and she's being excluded categorically from the women's teams as the statute. So we're taking the statute's definitions as we find them, and we don't dispute them. We're just trying to figure out, do they create an equal protection problem?
And it was at that point that Alito just completely nuked the argument that was coming from the anti-ban side.
Suppose this school that has a boys, let's say, track team and a girls track team. The school has that. And a student who has the genes and the reproductive system of a male and had those at birth and has never taken puberty blockers, never taken female hormones, never had any gender-altering or affirming surgery, says, nevertheless, I am a woman. That's who I am. Can the school say, no, you cannot participate on the girls' team?
So you're just a birth-sex male who has all the advantages of birth-sex male hormones, and can the school bar him from the women's team? Yes, they can.
But that person, is that person not a woman in your understanding? If the person says, I sincerely believe I am a woman, I am in fact a woman. Is that person not a woman?
I would respect their self-identity in addressing the person, but in terms of the statute, I think the question is, does that person have a sex-based biological advantage that's going to make it unfair for that person to be part of the women's team? And that's the rationale for the regulation, and so that's the way we would be testing that hypothetical.
Well, the reason I'm asking has to do with discrimination on the basis of transgender status. So what you seem to be saying is, yes, it is permissible for the school to discriminate on the basis of transgender status, because if this person is a trans woman, a trans girl, and is barred from the team, from the girls' team, then that person is being subjected to differential treatment based on transgender status, right?
That did not go well for her. And it seemed pretty obvious. And I know, Jackson, you were paying close attention to this today as well. I mean, it's pretty clear that this is going to be another one of those block decisions where all the conservatives are going to go one way, the majority, and then all the liberals are going to go the other way. There were two people kind of to watch. One was Chief Justice John Roberts, who I think his first question out the gate made it clear where he stood. Neil Gorsuch is the only other person to watch because he's gone both ways on this, pardon the pun, on this particular. It was not intended to. I heard that snicker. He's gone both issues on this, or both sides of the issue. But it seemed pretty clear the conservatives are going to side with states giving them the right to ban trans athletes from competing.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is just so preposterous. Like, how could they not? I mean,
Well, well, how can they not? You can listen to the really bad arguments coming from Kagan, Sotomayor, and Brown-Jackson, and they really were bad. And, on MS Now, their legal reporter, Lisa Rubin, she acted in such bad faith with one of her arguments, framing this entire debate. And, on the one hand, she's right when she says you can't really separate out the politics of this, but it's not because of what the conservatives did. But listen to what she said.
Well, you'd hope that the politics are out of the courtroom. And I will say, our producers have noticed a protest outside the court today that is larger than anything else that they've seen this year. So
it's unbelievable. The 13 days of which they've only been in session for 2, the largest protest we've ever seen. I mean, I was shocked by how many protesters were there in the 13 days and really 2 days of the session.
Politics around this, you're correct to observe, are quite large. With respect to what comes in the courtroom, I don't know how you can disaggregate the politics from this legal issue. The very fact that we're talking about the difference between biological males and cisgender males is...
Was that a mistake?
Yeah, wait a minute.
There is no difference, Lisa, between biological males and quote-unquote cisgendered males. They're just males. That's the thing here.
It's been foisted upon us by a campaign of fear being driven by the right against some women who want to participate in women's sports.
No. Against men who want to participate in women's sport. That's what, again, she's intentionally framing this as if trans women are women because that's a bumper sticker talking point, but they're not.
One of the plaintiffs here, Becky Pepper Jackson, she was the plaintiff and is now the respondent in the West Virginia case. She transitioned when she was in 3rd grade. Has never...
No. Oh, my God. That's your argument? How old is a 3rd grader?
Like 8.
Yeah. Okay. She didn't transition anything. He had abusive parents.
Undergone the kind of puberty that a biological male would necessarily go through. And so her argument is, to Leah's point, sort of some men but not all men, she says that from a biological standpoint, she is indistinguishable from other women.
But that's just not true. There's no such thing as indistinguishable from other women when we're talking about biology.
And so to foist upon her the expectations that we have of most biological men is simply unfair and unconstitutional as to her.
I'm also, it's funny because she says as to her, but Lisa's point and the point of everybody on MS Now is not even to make the distinction she's trying to make here, right? I mean, the whole point here is to do the opposite, is to treat every single quote-unquote trans person as if they're actually the biology in which they identify. It's just absolute lunacy. 1-800-465-8770 for your text messages. 1-800-465-8770 if you want to join the show and weigh in. I'm broadcasting from the Fox News studios in New York on this Tuesday afternoon. I'll be debating this very issue tonight on CNN at 7 o'clock on Abby Phillip Newsnight. I don't know who the panel's going to be. Oh, God. I'm going to get in trouble, aren't I? I can already see it. How long before I get called a bigot tonight once this story is introduced?
I'd say over-unders 90 seconds.
Right? Should I play the gay card? Because the chances are any liberal on that panel will not know who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting for the moment where, like, listen, it's just one thing for all of us to say as cisgendered heterosexuals. I'm just waiting for that moment. We're going to get into some more controversies when we come back. You're listening to The Jason Rantz Show.
Nick, did you know this is called quit time? Did you know what that is?
I do not know.
That means right about this time of the year, people quit their New Year's resolutions.
Oh, kind of like last year.
Okay, never mind. The important thing is that both of us made a New Year's resolution that we would take better care of ourselves for each other. And we're holding to that.
We are not flaming out because...
Longevity Medical Clinic. So we get the support of Longevity. We told them what our goals were, and they're like, absolutely, we'll get you in line. So they support me, they support you, and then as a couple, they're making us accountable for the decisions we make. So we're not going to be quitting on these things. I can't remember what your New Year's resolution was around the house.
My New Year's resolution around the house was that I was going to try to get you to start putting things away.
And I was going to get you to actually learn how to cook a piece of chicken.
Oh, well, that's for next year.
Okay, fine. Either way, we've got a team behind us. Do what Nick and I have done. Take a free health analysis at lmclinic.com. That's lmclinic.com.
Well, the wet, chilly weather has certainly arrived. It's Mike Salk here, and if your attic and crawl space are well insulated, your home should be fine. Should feel cozy and warm without your furnace having to work overtime. But you'd be surprised to learn how many homes in Western Washington lack insulation in these spaces. It's why you call Crawl Pros. If you're feeling cold drafts or seeing that heating bill spike, now's a great time to learn if you got any anything going on behind that crawl space or attic by calling Crawl Pros. They'll come out to your house just like they did to mine, do the corner-to-corner inspection. In my case, they found the problem, showed me the pictures, and then they got it all fixed. Now, if they do discover your home is under or improperly insulated, they'll show you all the utility rebates that are available to help you get the work done correctly. Like if you're a PSE customer and your home was built before 1990, you could get a rebate to cover up to 95% of the cost of the insulation job. If you're worried anything is going on in your crawl space or attic, including critters, water intrusion, mold, plumbing issues, anything, call Crawl Pros and schedule your free corner-to-corner inspection at crawlpros.com.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with zero investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Welcome back to the Jason Rantz Show here in New York as I'm on the road for some debates with liberals on CNN. And I have to say, we'll get to the news in a moment, but I had a maybe an hour's worth of glee in travel. Travel is not great, especially to the East Coast. It's such a long flight. The good news coming to New York from Seattle, and I flew into JFK, is that it's usually, because of the wind, like 4.5 hours at the most, unless there's some delay. Coming back to Seattle is the worst. It's like 6 hours. It's just, it is brutal. But the one thing I look forward to on these long flights is probably what everyone looks forward to when they take a flight and they look at their seat map and they realize they have the entire row to themselves. And going into the flight, like a day before the flight, it showed that there was no one seated between me and someone who was seated at the window. I'm an aisle guy because I always have to pee when I'm told that if you're in a position where you might have to ask someone to move, you're going to have to pee like 50 times. It's just
I'm the same way.
All right. It's the worst. And look, I drink a lot of water and Coke Zero, so I always have to actually go. So I was praying that no one would get that minute. Yesterday, I get to the airport and I checked every single the map. Showed that the person who had previously been assigned to the window seat left. I had the entire row to myself, Jackson. The entire row to myself. And then I started to get nervous. I was looking at the flight and I was trying to figure out, because I was in an area that usually gets an upgrade for people if they're in the Jackson seats, I refer to them as the poor people seats. And then I started to check every 10 minutes to see if someone else was going to be put in that row. But you know what happens right before they let everyone in. They close out the seat assignments so you can't see the map anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I get on wondering if they will move someone to some of those open seats, because worst case scenario is that they fill both seats. Mid-case scenario is that one person is there. And I was going through before they shut down the seat assignments, and this would have been risky. But I was thinking to myself, do I pick the middle seat? Should I take, right? And the chances are, I'm presuming, less likely that someone's going to want to sit next to me. Do I take the middle seat? Because if you're out there and you're looking for a seat, you'll take a seat that has an empty spot between.
Yeah, you want the buffer zone.
Yeah, you'll take the buffer, but you won't want to sit right next to someone. I decided not to do that. So I get to my seat. It's the only row that had all of the armrests up. And I assumed that that was good news, that the flight crew looked at this and they said, hey, whoever's going to be in this row, let's make it more accommodating to them so they can put their feet up.
They're not that nice.
Exactly. They're not that nice. And I couldn't figure out why else would they do that. I was literally the only row that they did this for. So I sit down, and now it's just the clock is ticking. Everyone walking towards me, I'm just praying that they keep walking past me, that they don't make that turn. And there were a couple times where they made eye contact with me. And I was like, oh, no, they're going to ask me to move because they're going to point to the seat on. But they didn't. They kept going. And I kid you not, Jackson, they had just said, we're just about ready to close the doors. There were just a few people who were walking by. And guess what? The second to last person who was walking toward, guess where they went?
Next to you?
Into my row. Now, thankfully, they didn't sit in the middle seat, and it was just one person. So we went back to the original, which I had, pretty much accepted that there was going to be someone at the far end. But I had the glory of the idea of putting my feet up, which would be better than first class to have an entire row to yourself. I had that for just, 20 minutes, 30 minutes as people were boarding, and the second to last person was the one who sat there. And guess who this person was? Remember that Jesse Waters on the street segment in Seattle in which the woman gave the weird look and it became a meme? Do you remember that woman? I am.
If I saw it, probably.
Yeah, everyone remembers it other than you. I am convinced, number one, it was her. Number two, she was watching MSN or MS Now the whole time. And this is what was freaking me out, because it was the emergency exit. You know how they always ask you if you're willing to help in case of an emergency, and everyone lies and says, yes, they would, when the truth is, I'm out first before all of you, and what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So this woman, I swear to you, didn't look at the emergency pamphlet once or twice or three times even. She looked at it multiple times, not even before and during the flight attendant asking all of us. She was looking at that thing mid-flight, which was making me wonder if she knew something no one else knew.
What's going on?
Why does she keep looking at this thing? Why is she so concerned about whether or not this plane is going to crash and she's going to have to know how to operate this emergency exit? It was really freaking me out. And so the entire time I kept sort of side-eyeing her to see whether or not she was planning something. And the only thing she was doing was planning which liberal garbage to watch on the live TV screen. Thank God we were otherwise fine. Except I had to listen to her. Just like she was talking to herself. I couldn't quite understand what she was saying, but she was I wonder if she was just mentally ill.
Well, if he's watching MS Now, there's a good chance of that.
Right. That's the entire audience for MS Now. 1-800-465-8770. You're listening to The Jason Rantz Show.
How do you stay humble when you're America's #1 wiper blade? That's what we're currently dealing with at Rain-X. Is it even possible to humble brag when you bully Mother Nature like we do? Do we sound too conceited if we keep repeating how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America? No, we'll take a lesson from our wipers and just keep doing our job with humility. As America's #1 wiper blade. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
This year's tax changes. Better not get caught snoozing. Miss one deduction, lose thousands. Not amusing.
Big tax changes can mean bigger refunds at Jackson Hewitt. And right now, get $100 just to try us.
Don't worry, tax filers. If money is tight, get $100 from Jackson Hewitt, so you'll sleep better at night.
Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Every season is a little bit different here in Washington, but I'll tell you what, the amount of rain never seems to change in the winter, and we have sure gotten a ton of it this season. All that rain, all that water, it's all got to go somewhere. And if it makes its way into your crawl space, that's when it can create all sorts of problems, including real structural damage, which could really affect your home. But more importantly, for the health of your family, the water in that crawl space could create toxic mold, and that has serious health repercussions. Thankfully, we have Crawl Pros. They can come in and keep your crawl space dry, install a sump pump and drainage, and reroute that water back out and away from your home. They'll also take care of any mold that may have been created. Don't take the risk. It's too important. The best way to learn if you have any water is to ask Crawl Pros to visit your home and inspect your crawl space for free. Crawl Pros will go where you don't want to. So if you're worried about water damage, mold, insulation issues, or anything else related to your crawl space or attic, call Crawl Pros or visit crawlpros.com.
Guy Benson here. I've been telling you about my new experience this year with the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. I wanted to drop a couple pounds, and they've got a program that if you stick to it, it really, really works. But I had this long scheduled vacation. So I called Dr. Coogan and his team. I said, listen, I want to do the program, but I don't want to fully be on the diet during this vacation. And they said, no problem. Stick to some of the overall principles, but enjoy yourself and then resume when you get back. So that's exactly what I did. I enjoyed the trip, came back, had not gained almost any of the weight back at all, and then it melted away within a day or two after that. Really satisfying. They customized this to your experience. They are there to help you and advise you every step of the way. They might even give you a cheat day on February 8th. I hear there's a big game that people in Seattle might care about. Make a 15-minute phone call. Get that on the schedule at Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. That's eastsideweightlossclinic.com. Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
If you need security for your event or business, contact Security Services Northwest. From armed and unarmed officers to advanced remote monitoring, they've been doing it all since 1977. Go to ssnwhq.com for Security Services Northwest.
For nearly 50 years, 90,000 homeowners have trusted Home Comfort Alliance. Right now, save up to $2,000 on new heating and cooling systems. Call the Comfort People. HomeComfortAlliance.com.